No copies? Oh. Good evening and welcome to the great city of Opalaca regular commission meeting. It is Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, 7:05 p.m. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass,
I'm here.
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Here.
Vice Mayor Taylor,
Here.
Mayor Williams.
Here. Invocation by Vice Mayor Taylor, followed by Pledge of Allegiance.
God, we thank you for bringing us together one more time in your name. God, we ask that you come into this meeting that we may have peace and do your will for your people. God, we also send you to Texas, God, to be a comfort to the families that have lost their loved ones in that horrific shooting. And God, we thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Before you sit, if you can please stand so we can have a moment of silence for the victims, the babies that lost their lives in Texas. Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements?
No, Madam Mayor.
I'm gonna wait a minute so we can get some order. Okay. Do we have any pulls, deletions, referrals from the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Dominguez.
I'd like to pull number 4.
Okay,
I'd like to pull number 4.
number 4 for the record. Any other
Madam Mayor,
pulls? Yes,
I'd like to defer 13.4.
defer number 4. Okay. Madam Clerk, do we need a vote to defer?
No, the item is sponsored by the city manager,
Got it.
so
Thank
he
you.
can sponsor that.
Okay.
He can defer that item.
Perfect. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Taylor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Davis. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
just for a point of clarification, we do have a substitute item for 13.5. There was some additional language that was included. The resolution in your package reflects 3 windows when it should reflect 3 windows and a door.
Correct.
And I provided the substitute item with the highlighted sections in which it was included in.
Correct. Do we need to read the new substitution in the record? I believe all the commission read through the item already.
I can read the title if you would like me to.
Thank you.
So 13.5. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, approving the recommendation of the Historic Environmental Preservation Board to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the structure at 806 Jan Avenue to allow for the replacement of 3 windows and a door on registered historic property, providing for an effective date. That's 13.5.
Thank you. The item has been moved. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Williams,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Okay, I need a motion to read Madam Clerk, if you can read add-on items 14.1 into record.
Yes, so we have a request to amend the agenda. This item would be included as 14.1, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, requiring the city attorney to submit the required items as delineated in the body of the legislation, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by the city manager.
Mr. Manager, can you please state the emergency nature of add-on item 14.1?
Yes, Madam Mayor. If we do not receive the information that is requested, it will have a severe and significant fiscal impact. For the fiscal year 2020 audit, the deadline is actually next week, May 31st. The previous city manager requested an extension and did not receive it yet. I've also requested an extension and have not received it yet. So as of today, the deadline still remains as May 31st. 2020. We require that information to attempt to complete the fiscal 2020 audit. And if JLAG does not provide us an extension, they do have the authority to defund the city from receiving additional funding.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to add item 14.1-1 to the agenda.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bass. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor. Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Williams,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Madam Clerk, please read add-on item 14-2 into record.
Yes, 14.2, an emergency resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, directing the interim city manager, Darvin Williams, to refrain from holding himself out as an attorney representing the City of Opalaca, requiring Williams to act promptly to provide information needed for litigation, defense matters, and other city business, requiring Williams to refrain from engaging in improper bargaining unit negotiations and announcements outside of scheduled bargaining meetings, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by the city attorney.
Madam Attorney, if you can please state the emergency nature of add-on item 14-2.
Yes, Madam Mayor, there have been a number of different occasions as of late where the city attorney's office is having a problem, not only getting information, but also with the city manager interfacing with city attorneys or attorneys who are adverse to the city. Persons who have litigation matters against the city, persons who are involved in union negotiations with the city, the manager has written letters, he's involved himself in city attorney affairs where things are being negotiated. These are things that I have never encountered in my 30 years of practice, and I don't know that other attorneys representing cities in this capacity have. It's stopping us from being able to perform our duties, and I've tried to bring this matter up individually to commissioners. And I am left with no other choice than to try to bring this matter to you all for a discussion so that we can properly represent the city. There are some issues with union issues where the manager has been making promises outside of the negotiation table, which is improper, illegal, and that has been brought to his attention and your attention through a letter that was written by a union attorney. And so I have no recourse other than to bring this issue before you all because it is impeding our ability to effectively represent the city.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to add item 14-2 to the agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Dominguez. Okay. Hearing no second, the item fails. Madam Clerk, can you please read add-on item 14-3 into the record?
Yes, but before I
Yes.
read 14.3, Madam Mayor, I need
Yes.
direction from the commission. So this item is being sponsored by the city manager and the city attorney has not yet had the opportunity to review it. I need direction on how you all would like for me to move forward with it.
And Madam Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
this item was just told to me right at the beginning of this meeting, and this is an example of what I was explaining in the description that I just gave for the last item. I have not seen the item. I don't know what the item is. Nobody's discussed the item with me. I'm supposed to review items for legal sufficiency. Things are prepared and brought forward without my knowledge, and this is one other great example of that.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Mr. Manager.
So there are many people in here now that are actually from the flea market. This emergency item is to address their needs and to their concerns. And that's why it's called an emergency item. We, the city clerk's office, the city manager's office, respond to last minute requests from the city attorney's office all of the time. There is nothing extraordinary about this emergency resolution, but for the fact we are looking to address the needs and concerns of so many of the people that are in here today and tonight. I'm requesting that if we may move forward with this emergency resolution with the notation that the city attorney has not provided the documentation for legal sufficiency so that we can aid the people that are in this room tonight.
And Madam Mayor, if I can also say that I don't know what I'm supposed to be given an opportunity to review things, to research things, to see if they're even legal under your code. I have never been given an item prior to a commission meeting starting ever. And I've been here over 2.5 years now. This is the very first time. So this is unusual. I understand that it may be considered an emergency item. I don't even know if the request that's being made, whatever it is a legally valid request that you all can even vote upon. So I think it's, this is again, an example of what I have been dealing with.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner Bass.
if I may, would it be appropriate for us to go into recess in order for the attorney to look at that document?
I think it's if that's something
I'm
she
just-
can do, I don't know.
I can try.
How long would this recess be?
Five, 10 minutes, would that do? I know it's not a lot, but a little bit.
Again, I'm happy to try. Whatever you
Okay.
all say, I'll sit here and concentrate real hard and see what I can figure out from what's given. But it would probably help, Madam Mayor, if some description of what the item is could be given, perhaps, that may help clarify
I can provide that documentation, Madam Mayor.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I can provide that description, Madam Mayor. Just give me a moment.
I'm listening, Mr. Manager.
Okay. This is not the exact language, but it is a description. A resolution authorizing the city manager to forego collection and waive all of the following city of Opalaca fees as stated below for 1 year for all vendors of the Opalaca flea market. 1, waive fees for annual business license. 2, waive fees for certificate of use. 3, waive fees for water and sewer verification. 3, waive fees for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing inspection. And 5, waive fees for code enforcement inspections. My administration is currently working to find an additional location for the vendors of the flea market, and this would assist them with the move by waiving all of the fees, which comes to approximately $300 per vendor.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner Bass,
to
can't hear you. I
to our
literally
city
cannot hear
manager, just a quick question. Your resolution states to waive the fees for basically for relocation for the vendors who are currently at the flea market. Those fees will be waived for what amount of time? A year, or how is it
1 year, and the resolution states 1 year.
from the new location?
Correct.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
generally speaking, whenever there is a change or any latitude in occupational license fees, because it is a fee and it's to be generally equally applied to everyone. One of the things that it says in 13-213 of the city code is that the owner and operator of the flea market or bazaar shall, prior to commencement of operations, obtained from the city an occupational license. And so we know that the owner has to have an occupational license. And also there is an annual fee requirement for sales per booth, $140 per sales per booth. It does not state in here that the city may waive by something other than an ordinance, which it took to establish it. Generally speaking, occupational licenses are set forth in Florida statutes. They are specific as to their intent. You actually have to go through a process to obtain or change occupational licenses. If you wanted to, you actually have to have a study, and there are different kind of statutory benchmarks that are required for occupational licenses. And so I don't know that, given the short period of time here today, I can find any case law or examples where something like this has been requested or done legally. But if the commission wanted to take some action contingent upon it being found to be a legal action, perhaps that might be an opportunity to look at.
my question, Madam Attorney, if the agenda item was not reviewed for legal sufficiency, then what then would be the repercussions if there are any, if the legal opinion is something different?
It's not supposed to come before you if it's not legally sufficient. And that's the whole point of my having the opportunity to review it prior to it coming before you. So it never happens. And so it's not even supposed to be here if I haven't seen it.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Davis.
I'm very challenged because we have a room full of people that basically been reaching out to us all week. And ultimately, time is of the essence. You know, they have a hard deadline of the 30th. Basically giving them a month to relocate. when many of them have held businesses in this community for upwards of 40 years. I hate to sit here and see, items come before the commission, not having our management have those internal conversations so that we can address this matter in a more appropriate way. I'm challenged. Looking at the timeline, can this item be brought back before the deadline? Or can we pass the item, maybe contingent upon if the occupational license is the only fee that the attorney, based on her analysis, if that's the only fee that she had a problem with, like, can we go forth with the certificate, waiving the certificate of use, the vendor fees, and et cetera? A question through the mayor to the attorney.
I don't know. Perhaps whoever is over the occupational license division, they can give you some examples of perhaps something they may have done in the past, which would make this something they believe they can do. I'm not aware of that. Normally, when you have something, it applies across the board and it's applicable to everybody. And that's, the process that you have. And that's what's supposed to happen so that nobody can come back and say that unless you had some kind of provision that was a legal provision that was passed by an ordinance that allowed for such a provision. But maybe this might be a time through the manager for him to have whomever that person is to describe to you all the process, which may give us more information.
Well, through the mayor, hearing your response, I think is in the best interest of this board and of this community and the businesses and residents that we represent, to bring the item after it's approved for legal sufficiency at a special commission meeting. That's the only thing that I can think of if it's not ready to go tonight.
Question before, Mr. Manager, real quick. Madam Attorney, right now, the only question that's on the table is adding the item to the agenda. We haven't voted for the item. So albeit I know that that's unheard, that's unorthodox, but is it possible that we move this item to the end? And does that give you time because we technically haven't voted yea or nay, but does that give you time to go through it during our meeting for legal sufficiency as opposed to waiting in there?
Madam Mayor, I'm happy to do whatever you suggest. So if that would be fine, I can try to look at it in between your conversations and try to research it.
I mean, if it's the will of the commission, we have vendors here, we have people here. This is the state of emergency. And I just want to be able to, have something that we can, as opposed to waiting 2-3 more days, they don't have days to wait.
And Madam Mayor, as I understand it, this is it says to forego collection. I'm assuming that's same as waiver of a fee associated with obtaining an occupational license. But the fact of the matter is, it sounds like the vendors are not going to be on the location. So I'm assuming the intent, although I've had no conversation about it, the intent is for these people to be able to operate anywhere. Is that?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Manager.
what I'm looking to do is to find another location within the city of Opalaca for all of the vendors of the flea market. What I'm asking this commission to do, and what I'm asking the city attorney to provide legal sufficiency for, is to free my hands so that they will have the capacity to move without the city requiring exorbitant amount of fees, which would be an additional hardship to what they're already facing. That's what the ask is.
Madam Mayor,
Vice Mayor Taylor.
Madam Attorney, through the mayor to the attorney, is there if we were to add this on the agenda, will there be any consequence, like the mayor stated? Because like my colleague said, they're here for answers, and we want to give them some glimpse of hope.
You could certainly, if you'd like to add it, I'm telling you, I haven't reviewed it yet, but you can certainly add it to the agenda, and maybe there's something you can do prior to a vote on it to allow me to review it if you intend to vote for it, make it subject to, you know, it being found to be legal, you know, so perhaps that might be an option.
So a friendly amendment to the work in this case?
Okay, all right. So what we'll do is we will vote on the emergency item and then see where it goes from there.
Madam Mayor, you mean adding it to the agenda, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
the vote would be to add.
Yes.
Yes. I need a motion to add item 14-3 to the agenda.
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Taylor.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Did you want me to read the title into the record?
Well, the manager did, but please do, yes. It's like the third time. Go, please.
14.3, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, authorizing the city manager to forego collection of the City of Opalaca fees associated with obtaining an occupational license for 1 year for all vendors of the Opalaca flea market, providing for incorporations of recitals, providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by the city manager. I have a motion and a second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, to add it to the
Commissioner-
agenda.
Sorry?
Say yes to add it to the agenda.
Yes. Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Mayor Williams?
Yes,
Motion passes. This item will be added as 14.3.
thank you. I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Taylor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes,
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Mayor Williams?
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
need a motion to approve the regular commission meeting minutes for April 27, 2022.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Taylor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
yes.
Mayor Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Madam Clerk, do we have any reports from our county commission?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have any public presentations?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do. The first public presentation is Lixon Nelson, CEO, Alliance Community and Employment Services, and his presentation will be with regards to training, education, and career services for individuals with disabilities. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Lixon Nelson. We're all ears. Thank you.
Good evening, city council members and people of the community. I'm Lixon Nelson, president of Alliance Community and Employment Services, other known as ACES. ACES assists individuals in the community when it comes to job training and job development. Over the years, ACES has helped under my leadership with over 100 individuals or more with disabilities in employment. I myself is an individual with a disability, so I know some of the struggles that individuals with disabilities face when it comes to finding employment. So when people think disabilities, they always think just physical disabilities. People don't understand mental health is also a disability. Since the pandemic, a lot of individuals have claimed mental health, and mental health has affected them. Not only just the individuals in the community, but also the businesses, because business owners are also individuals, so they face mental health. So mental health has severely damaged individuals when it comes to gaining employment and sustaining employment. Some individuals don't want to go back to work. They rather work from home. So employment has changed itself. So ACEs is coming to the city of Opalaca because I've worked with plenty of individuals over my 15 years in the city of Opalaca, individuals that are looking for jobs and employers that are within the city of Opalaca. And I've seen some of the challenges on both sides. And I believe ACEs can help bridge kind of the gap. ACEs would like to work with the city of Opalaca when it comes to finding space in the city of Opalaca, when it comes to utilizing some of the resources within the city of Opalaca to help the number of individuals in the city of Opalaca that actually have disabilities find gainful employment, and some of the employers in the city of Opalaca to develop jobs for individuals that have disabilities ranging from mental health, physical, and emotional. And also help because the individuals that are employers in the city of Opalaca see the benefits that they can get as far as tax credit and also some of the funding that the government has to help individuals that want to hire more people with disabilities, and some of the benefits that the state has for individuals that are receiving disabilities to go back to work. As I said, personally, myself, I've worked with all types of individuals that have had disabilities like myself. I work with the school system to train youth with disabilities, how to do job training, to train youth with disabilities, how to look into entrepreneurship and create jobs. I've worked with our state vocational program to help individuals with disabilities find jobs, and employers to work with our state vocational rehab program when it comes to benefits. So I'm here to present myself to see how I can work with the city of Opalaca to help the community and the residents of the city of Opalaca.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. Anyone on the dais has questions or comments or,
Madam Mayor,
yes, Commissioner Davis.
thank you for all that you do for the mental health and disabled community. I myself, for the past 2 years, actually serve as an educator of special education students. So I teach 4th grade, so I share your sentiments with that special population. And oftentimes working with students with disabilities, specifically students with autism, there's a perception out there that their disability hinders them or, they're not able to learn, when in fact that if you know about autism, you know that it is actually a social disorder. And, students with autism have varying disabilities and are able to do great things. I get to see it every day with my 4th grade students. So thank you for all the work that you do, towards that special population. And thank you as well for bringing this resource to our community. In the former life, I worked in the nonprofit sector and worked with different agencies. And I don't think I've ever came across one that has a specific niche like yours to impact the special education community. So thank you for all that you do with transitioning, and keep up the great work. And we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. And if I could share with you, Commissioner Davis, it comes from my upbringing, being a minority individual, being of Haitian descent, and also facing challenges of being a student with a disability. So when I sit and I talk to employers, I can relate as being not just an advocate for my participants, but I'm also an advocate for myself. And being an employer myself with a disability, I've employed over 30, 50 people. So I know what it is to be on both sides, of the coin when it comes to employment. So that's what my passion is. So when I speak to the students, I usually mainly speak to students who are in ESC about becoming more me and becoming more of you. So that way we can open up more doors for individuals with disabilities. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Bass.
just 2 questions. Do you have other locations or other cities that you're working with at this time? And for how long have you been a part of this community? When I say this community, I mean your organization.
Well, I've been a part of that community all my life. As I said, I was born with a disability, which is dyslexia. I'm contracted through the state of Florida through a Department of Education, which is that works with vocational rehab. So I've been working with individuals throughout the state of Florida, but I mainly work within the South Florida Tri-County. And I currently had an office in Davie that I had to close due to the pandemic, where I was teaching special needs individuals, like you mentioned, autism, life skills, job development, and changing their mindset of also becoming entrepreneurs.
Madam Mayor, one more. So if we were to extend our hands to you, this would be a sort of a reboot to your mission?
Yes, because currently over half the population of individuals in the city of Opalaca that's living with poverty has some type of form of disabilities. And whether they claim it or they don't claim it, they don't know the benefits of actually claiming it. And I don't want to go too much into my story, but I had to go to college and understand the benefits of utilizing resources that are available through the state and through the community, and which God put me in this position. And these are the same things some of these business owners here that may not be looking at as extra resources to help their business, because one, they don't know, two, they have a disability, they don't claim it, or two, don't understand that they can get benefits to help as far as revenue for their companies. So that's, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Mayor?
Vice Mayor Taylor.
Well, I will say this. I met Lexan, I guess, a couple months ago. We met, I think, formally at an event.
The Jewish
Yeah.
and historical.
And
event.
I was impressed by his story that he presented about being and overcoming what they say, that physical challenge that you told me that you have. So, and I know that this couldn't have come at a better time, because we know that May is Mental Health Month. So I do appreciate the work that you've done. Like I expressed to you that night when you told your story, I appreciate the work that you do and have done, and that you're going to do for the community with disabilities. And I think that was a couple of weeks ago, we had the autism parade here in the city of Opalaca. So to bring this type of resource to our community is a good thing, and I thank you for it.
Commissioner Bass, I think I forgot to ask one part of your question. Yes, I had an office in Davie, and I've had an office and also in Broward County mainly. But my first office that I utilized was at the BAC building when I first started, and currently still hold a mailbox there, you know, to be receiving information. But mainly my first spot was in Liberty City when I started.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again. Just to echo the sentiments of my commission, of the commission. My constituents, I don't know, what are y'all? Y'all are I'm tongue tied, colleagues, that's it. I'm like, what in the world? It's a long day. My colleagues, I can tell you the elephant in the room all the time is mental health and disability, that we just want to sweep under the rug, never talk about, and act like it doesn't exist, although we know every family suffers from it. And, you know, we see it. I myself being in education, we see it every day from the youngest to the oldest. And, you know, a child that suffers, like Commissioner Davis said, with disability, mental health, SPED, ESC, those students in turn become adults that we end up turning out into the streets. And that's the reality.
Commissioner Davis, if I could add on to what you're saying, I also work with DJJ, Department of Juvenile Justice, and I sit in on the reentry meetings, and I've also worked with Miami Job Corps. So I've actually, don't want to hold up to some of the city members, but I've actually talked to students with disabilities that when they see an individual like myself, they say they don't see too many other employers that look like myself that open to say they have a disability. And I think it's a shame. You know, so that's one of the ACEs thing, is to expose our students with disabilities to others that look like them. So that's one of the things that we do in our summer camp, you know, not just drill them on how to be employed, but, you know, students, especially like myself, I'm a visual learner and an audio learner. So we present other individuals with disabilities so the students can see and hear. So that's one of the things that we do during our summer camp program.
Okay, thank you. And we look forward to building a great partnership with you. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, do we have any more public presentations?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have a presentation by Travis Kelly of Career Source, South Florida. And his presentation will be on Summer Youth Employment Program.
Well, we know that's not Travis Kelly.
Good evening to the commission. I'm Rick Beasley, the Executive Director of Career Source. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it, but I will ask Travis to come up because he has a lot of information for us. But we had an opportunity to have a discussion with Commissioner Davis and Mayor Williams. You know, we've had a conversation of how our agency, we're one of 24 workforce boards in the state of Florida. We provide employment and training services throughout Dade and Monroe County. And as you know, we have an office located right down the street to provide employment training services. So we had a conversation regarding an opportunity for us to partner with the city to leverage, and I'm going to put it on the spot, and we talked about it about 2 weeks ago. What we do is that we leverage with cities resources to provide some employment programs strictly for the residents of that city.
Yeah.
Where we are seeking now, I'm gonna put on the table here that for us, if the city wants to put up about $50,000, we'll match the 50 for the residents, the youth within this area. Now, if your city wants to put up a little bit more money, we'll match those dollars. Now, I was asked a question, why can't we just put a summer employment program just for the city? And I shared with the mayor before that we don't have the resources to provide it just for this city, because then I would have to provide it for every city in the county. And so what we have done for the last several years with the City of Miami Gardens is that they put money on the table, we match it. And if you all remember several years ago, I went out to the state of Florida, asked them to provide some resources specifically for the city of Opalaca. We matched the dollars so we can provide some employment. And so that's what I'm proposing today, that if there's an opportunity that we could work together, we would put matching dollars on the table to strictly provide youth in this community. Not Miami Gardens, not Hialeah Gardens, but the youth in city of Opalaca will provide that. Now, I think Commissioner Davis, we had talked, the total numbers, if I'm correct, it's 40. The youth here would get work with employers not only in Opalaca, but the surrounding area, get paid at least $13.88 an hour. We'll pay directly to the youth. We'll work with one of our providers to be able to get the youth registered. We'll select that process. They have to be residents of the city. They will also get a banking account. They will go through a employment training workshop so they have an understanding how to work on the job, but also learn financial literacy. And so that is my offer to the city. We'd love to see how we can partner with you. But again, unfortunately, I just don't have the resources just to do it for the city of Opalaca. And those cities that we're already partnering with will look at me and, you know, Mayor, you know, they'll run me out of the city, out of the county. Okay. But I think it's an opportunity for us to have youth working and provide them a way of being able to gain skills, but keep them off the street so that we can keep crime low. Okay. And so that's what I am proposing to the city this evening. And I can take any questions.
Any questions, comments from the commission?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Commissioner
Hi.
Dominguez.
Hello, over here.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm good.
What are the ages that you will employ the youth? What ages are there? What-
They range from 15 to 20, 15 to 18. I'm getting corrected here. That's why I need Mr. Travis there, 15 to 18.
To 18, okay.
And those are the in-school program. We also do it for the out of school. Okay. And so I'm being told here that if, you know, we can go up to age 24, that is not an issue for us, but a lot of the cities like to go from 15 to 18 of years of age.
And how is the selection done with the youth? How do you advertise, or how can we find out about that?
Well, as we've done before, we'll design a registration portal. So the youth will apply strictly online. It'll be a random selection process. And then we will then select those individuals. We do the eligibility based again where they live. And so if we have students that apply that are, let's say, from Miami Gardens, they would not be selected. Only the residents, the youth in this city are allowed to participate. So it would be a random selection process. We're not going to take the first one, first serve, because again, we want to make sure that we get enough youth in and then randomly select those youth to participate. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner Davis.
thank you. I just want to thank Mr. Beasley for coming out tonight and presenting the program. And I also want to state my intention to provide a future agenda item for tonight to direct the city manager's office to identify funding, as we now have several opportunities between ARPA funding and also opportunities within our city budget to allocate that funding ahead of the summer months when we usually experience heightened instances of youth violence and those sort of crimes in our community. So as we begin to create and craft programming to ultimately curb violence and wrongdoings in our community, we're great to have resources like Career Source and their out of school and in school summer youth programs that will significantly change the trajectory of youth here in our community. So again, thank you, Mr. Beasley. Thank you for Mayor Williams, who I also know has been in contact with Mr. Beasley to put forth this initiative. And also thank you to former Mayor Pygott, who actually brought this opportunity first to the city and ultimately put it forth as a resource for our residents. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner Bass.
thank you. Just a quick question. What is your starting date and ending date for that program?
I'd like to start now. The program, let me share with you all, if you do this, I'm gonna try to avail myself, but I have a staff behind me that I keep adding more projects onto their list here, but actually it will start July 1 and end in September. I want to say September 15th, correct, sir? 25th. September.
I'm sorry?
25th. From July 1 to September 25th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I guess I get the last comment.
You sure do. Madam Mayor.
I would be remiss if I don't say our longstanding history of working together, specifically in high schools for students in various communities. So this just brings me joy because, I used to be, Rick, what we gonna, come on, Opalaca. And so just to have this come into our city and just know that, Commissioner Davis, I'm definitely in full support because jobs make a difference.
Yes, they do.
Understanding financial literacy now make a huge difference on wealth building,
Right.
generational wealth down the road. And it's not about just having a job, but it's about life skills.
Exactly.
And we know this all too often, and most of the crime, this is a spiral, happens because our youth don't have anything to do in the summer.
Exactly.
And just presenting and having conversations today with 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students during our award ceremony, talking to them, and interesting enough, speaking to them and mentioning Career Source today. So thank you again. And I'm
Madam
all
Mayor,
on board.
I look forward to seeing our partnership with you all. So let me share the total numbers. 40 students. The total amount really comes up to $116,000. We're going to ask as a city to put up just 50, and I'll cover the $67,000. Again, we want the program to happen in the city. We feel it's an initiative that will really, truly help our students. Again, I mentioned they would go through an employability skills training, about 20 hours. But a part of that, the students will be able to have their own financial literacy, but their own banking account. That will be a requirement, that they get financial literacy, but also have an opportunity to have their own banking account. And so it's a win-win for the student to be able to grow. And so again, we offer that to you all. I look forward, I'm gonna put it out in the atmosphere. God will always bless. So I'm hoping, I'm praying that you all make sure this happens for this community. Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. At this time, we're moving into citizens forum. Madam Clerk, can you please read the rules for participation for citizens forum?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening. City of Opalaca Commission meetings are held in person at Shabandi Village Auditorium, 215 Purvis Avenue, Opalaca, Florida. Members of the public wishing to address the commission may do so in person or virtually. Those persons wishing to participate virtually should register prior to the scheduled meeting time on the city's website at www.opalacafl.gov. When speaking before the commission, please make sure to give your full name and address for the record. There is the 3-minute time limit for public comments. Please adhere to the decorum policy, which is part of the commission meeting agenda. City commission meetings are aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opalaca. And at this time, Madam Mayor, there are no virtual public comments.
Thank you. Citizens forum is open.
Good evening. My name is Manuel Perez. I live in 1111 Prairie Street, 111125. I'm here today to thank you all for the good job you have done. And I'm very proud of all of you for picking up the manager that is right there. Especially, I never seen all my employees and Public Works so happy for this time that I've been here. I've been here 15 years. Since 2008, we haven't got what that man gave these people. They deserve something. They work very hard, and I believe they're gonna work harder to get this city going. And I appreciate all you guys did for him, and I hope you hold him a little bit so he can get the job done, and I know he can get the job done since he did all this for these people. And I'm very proud of all of you, manager, the mayor, the vice mayor, and all of you, the employees. It's first time that I get up here, and because I'm doing it for my people in Public Works. They're scared to come and talk, I guess. So they told me to go ahead. If you are our man, go over there and talk about us. So this is what I'm doing. And thank you all. You all know me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I want to be held to the decorum too. My name is Donnie Johnson. I preside at 13724 Northwest 22nd Place in Opalaca. First, I want to set the record straight. Career Source was brought here under the administration of Taylor and Kelly. It's not our first rodeo with Career Source. Matter of fact, we got them moved into the building there. And there was always money set aside for summer programs. I remember one year we interviewed over 200 and some students and couldn't even get them a job. And I think you kind of remember that, Commissioner Bass, because of their records.
Yep.
So we also had Wells Fargo having financial literacy classes in Miami-Dade Federal Credit Union, which is no longer a part of our community. So I just want to set the record straight on that. I think I mentioned the last meeting that I was very disappointed how being appointed, and thank you for the one that appointed me to the planning and zoning. But I mentioned then that I had some concerns that the meeting was just being recorded, not videoed. And I mentioned in the meeting that I had gotten calls from vendors at the flea market, and I didn't know what to say because that was my first face-to-face meeting. So after attending the meeting, I did have some good community allies at the flea market, and I spoke to them since the meeting and told them, you need to get as many people here so you can hear from the commission, because I'm an unofficial commissioner, but I still care about my community. So after that, I found out in the meeting, and I think we're just behind the 8th ball, because I think what we're doing now should have been done prior to the planning and zoning meeting. They should have met with these vendors and made sure that they had a plan of action. I'm told by most of them that they was just contact last Friday. Everything has been voted upon last Friday. I did give several commissioner name, and the ones that reached out to them, thank you. The ones that had busy schedule and couldn't reach back out to them, they understand. But I think this is a time that we got to move me out of the way and put we. Some of these vendors has been to the flea market for over 40 years. Over 40 years. And for staff, and I think if you go back and listen at the recording, some of the comments that I heard at the meeting, I am dissatisfied with them, disappointed and dissatisfied with it. So I ask that some of your boards, you need to go back and look at the meeting. I would strongly suggest, strongly look at it to make sure, because most of the staff are the same people been here for years. And the transition, you can't hold it on one city manager because you have so much transition with that. I mean, this is a way, if I wasn't truly retired, this is the way I can really consult for $1. But since I'm not, I do believe that our mission is teamwork does make the dream work. And we got to look at it for legal sufficient. I've never heard, what is that? That's, oh, you put that up early. Thank you very much and God bless you. I'm coming back in ordinance.
Tarani Mitchell, 14225 Northwest 22nd Place. I just want to bring up a couple of things. Again, regarding Siegel Park. The lighting is completely out at Siegel Park now. The last week, you still have people sleeping in the park at night, bothering the electricity. We had an officer to pull up in the parking lot, and I'm most certain he saw the guys sleeping up under there. Never exit the vehicle to go on the park to say anything to none of the guys that's still using the microwave, bringing the TV, and also sleeping out to the park. So we need to start monitoring Siegel Park because now it's worse. There's no lights because they've turned the lights off at the park. Another thing, the Kipling Under the Stars event was super. It was nice. We had a good turnout, but there was only one thing, no officers. When we were leaving, there was shooting. So while we were leaving, if that had been in that parking lot, that could have been tragic, but it was across by the store and the houses or something over there. So we need to start seeing these officers to the events or need to put in place the reserves. What happened to the reserves? You need to start back putting the applications out to fill these positions for reserve because they come in hand. When there's no officers available, we can put the reserves in place. Also, I want to ask a question about the park rentals. When you rent the locations, prior meetings, it's supposed to be 30 days for refunds. I rented a park in March. I have yet to receive a refund. So can we look into the time frame for the return of the refunds for the deposits? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joseph Carlos. I live at 1246 Dunad Ave, but I'm here to talk about the Opa-locka situation. As I sat over there and I heard you guys deliberate if you guys were here or not, I want to thank you because this is a very disparaging moment for us right now. And I just want to thank you for maybe hopefully giving us a chance to vocalize our anguish. As you see behind us, here I have a couple of my colleagues that are very panicked at the moment. And this is just a slither of the people that will be impacted by this, this decision that was made that just let us know 30 days ago that in 30 days, the Opalaca flea market is gonna shut down. And they let us know last week. If everybody that will be impacted, I'm talking about thousands of people that will be impacted by this. You would think that Miami Heat won the championship. That's how many people you would have here, seas of people. And these are people that have been there for 40 years, as you mentioned, that have worked, are blue collar people that don't work 5 days, 6 days. We're talking about the Opalaca Flea Market is open 7 days of the week. This is how we send people, their children to school, make their ends meet, and then have decades of a lifelong dedication that they've worked their whole lives. And I think it's very unfair and evil and cruel and greedy in the way they let us know. Basically, what we rent out in Opalaca, open lots, we built Opalaca. I don't know if you guys have gone through Opalaca. I'm pretty sure you guys have. You can meet your general needs there, but there's no buildings in a lot of locations. You would see containers that we actually paid for, power grids that we actually paid for. Just because they couldn't do it, they would just ask us to pay this and we would do it, you know? And that's a sacrifice we're willing to make for our families, for our jobs. And it's very unfair the way they're treating us right now, because we contributed a lot to this community. And then these are the blue collar people that make Opalaca and all over Miami, you know? And it just makes me very sad the way that they're treating new people that are coming in. Actually, there's somebody here, actually a business owner, that 2 weeks ago spent thousands of dollars and they let them open up a business. And actually, it's just sad. She's actually right here. Thousands of dollars. We just left the pandemic right now. Gas prices are through the roof. They expect us to leave everything in 20 days because it's impossible. We're gonna find a space outside. You can't even find an apartment right now.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. And we're talking about like not 6 people. Like I say it again and again because it's thousands. The impact this is gonna have is gonna damage us. And it's just greedy, and the word is evil, what they're doing right now. And we just want you guys to hear us out and give us the time to actually put it in the agenda and let us actually come and have a day for us to give our voices, everything we can to find a way that we could work with you guys and you guys could help us in order to at least alleviate the situation or give us time. The problem, I'm sorry. The problem is not, I'm a little passionate about this. The problem is not the date they decided to close Opalaca, June 30th. The problem is the time frame they gave us. Everything must end. I get it. Not everything is forever, but they could have gave us 6 months after 40 years of giving that. I mean, or 3 months. Give us something for us to find a way to relocate or get our investments back in a way for us to give a little cushion for our families. These people I've had my business there for 6 years. People have, and I feel desperate because I've invested so many years of those 6 years of my time, 7 days a week. There's people here that have been there since the beginning, and that's all they know. And they're in their older age and they don't know what they're gonna do next. So this is something that will impact thousands. And I want to thank you guys for listening to us and the commission, everybody. And please give us a chance to, in our day-to-day, vocalize even deeper what we feel. Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, mayors, commissioners. I'm here today basically the same as the gentleman here. My name is Johan Fernandez. I'm the owner of YJ Electronics, one of the businesses on the Opa-locka flea market. We've been established there for about 7 years already. But we're here today with the recently news that all vendors and employees that are at the flea market will be closing its doors after more than 40 years of operations in the city of Opalaca. Today, I speak on behalf of the majority. After business and employees still operates at the flea market. So of today, the flea market have been the source of support for hundreds of families, where most of them are low-income families and minorities. We were all notified this past Friday, May 20th, that we all need to leave the premises in a month. What we are trying to accomplish is that the city help us with the new owners to provide us with more time to relocate. There are businesses here that have been established for more than 30 years, like locksmith and everything. We have some of them have huge inventories like tires, containers, heavy machinery that they're very costly and takes time to relocate and move them. The flea market administration right now is reading some vendors that hasn't paid their rent to block their business if they don't pay it in time to cut their power. That's what the flea market administration is doing now. Their managers. This lady, as they said, this Sunday, they collect her rent. She just paid cash $250 for her pause. They giving her receipt or anything, even though they knew already that they were closing. There's another gentleman that invests about $30,000 or $40,000 building a whole new space. And they, as soon as he opened this week, they told him gotta go out of the business. So this is very sad news. And what we are asking basically is time. It's not these businesses support a lot of families, a lot of employees. I employ myself more than 30 people, just my business. Is one of the biggest inside the flea market that have tire tinted window, muffler shops. So we have a lot of people that takes time. My machinery costs thousands of dollars to move them alone. So I really appreciate your time. So I hope you guys can help us out. We understand it's a private property. We need to leave, but at least buy us some time to move around. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Gutierrez, and I reside in 14460 Southwest 30th Street, Miami, Florida 33175. I just want to be a voice, just to support what my colleagues were saying. My father, which is over there with a red shirt, he's been there since 36 years. Actually, when the flea market was on the other side, like where there's where they're building. That's where he first started his tire shop. I was the age of my daughter, which she's there in the stroller. I have pictures, her age in the flea market. And my father has worked, 7 days a week, never was home, always working. And that's what he taught us. And all of my family have a business in the flea market right now. I have 3 locations. My sister, my older sister has 1, my little sister has 1, and my brother 2. And, this is as shocking to me as, I'm speaking in behalf of everybody else because most of them don't speak Spanish and can even express what they feel. And, this is very, though, I'm not really disappointed that we knew that the flea market was gonna close, because it's been, rumors, and we've actually asked the managers. They never confirmed us a date. Actually, a month ago, one of the managers said that we still had 2 years left. So, to tell us on Friday that we had 30 days, that's just impossible to move all of our things, because after my father retired 2 years ago, I took over his shop. So I invested a lot in the business. And when hurricanes come, just like gentleman there, Joseph, he said, we built the flea market. Everything, all the tents, it came from our income, not the flea market. When the hurricanes came, everything was always destroyed. So we had to invest again. Actually, 2 years ago, a little wind, it wasn't even a hurricane, yanked off the whole tent. We had to spend thousands of dollars for that. So, if they would have told us ahead of time, I would have prepared myself, my family, it's all of us, my 3 sisters, my 2 sisters and my brother is, we all live from there. And all of our employees, like, just to give them the news was very devastating. So I want to be a voice for them, to see what kind of help we could get with that. Because in 30 days it's nearly impossible to move all of our things, all of our containers. We have over 8 containers of tires. If they would have told us 6 months ahead, before, I would have not even ordered, merchandise inventory. I would have not ordered it. I just ordered on Thursday a whole bunch of inventory, which I'm not gonna be able to sell in 30 days. So I'm just very disappointed, and I hope that our voices are heard tonight. And if we could use, if our voice could be helped, it would be very greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Good evening, you all. My name is Rafael, and I represent Vega Max Electronics. This has been a slap in the face for all of us. It's just like if you guys go home right now and you have a letter in your door, you got 30 days to move out. What are you guys gonna do? Freak out, just like we're all freaked out right here. As I speak, the vendors that provide us merchandise are scared to give us merchandise to keep on moving. And that's not happening. So they're closing the doors to us because the flea market's closing. Everybody understands we gotta go. But it's the time frame that they gave us. If they gave us 3 months, that's 3 months to look for something to move. And everybody knows you cannot get a permit in less than 30 days. It's not gonna happen. It's 30 days or more. So what are we all gonna do? Be out in the street? There's things there that cannot be moved so quick. We have 3 containers. We have canopies, 14 employees. Got rent to pay, got families to feed. And like I said, it's a slap in the face. And I heard that the police of Opalaca are gonna put trespassing to all the vendors after the 30 days. And how are we gonna get our stuff out? It's inhumane. And what bothers me is that these people that bought the flea market are not from Miami. They're not from Opalaca. They're coming into our home and kicking us out. People from other countries. It's not fair. So that's really all what I gotta say, but please give us a break, give us some time. We know we gotta go, but 30 days is not gonna happen. Thank you all.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Oxalis, and I am one of the vendors of the free market. Well, I know most Haitian lady was there before, but as for me, I have 25 years work there. This is my job, my only job. I don't have no more paycheck. I am a widow with 4 children in my family. I have mortgage to pay, and I have bills to pay. Then I have to feed my family. That flea market there is only job I had for 25 years. Then my shock is that last week, I even bought merchandise on Friday. Then they gave me the paper on Saturday morning to remove everything. So for me, it's like less than 30 days to remove everything. But they even threat us. If we don't pay them right now, they're gonna force us with police for 24 hours to be out. And then if they want to collect more money, no problem, we can still pay them. But at least they should give us some more time. That's why we came here to plead for more time, because I know you are concerned. You all have family. Everybody have family. Everybody have to take care of, So we came here just to plead for more time. Even is less than 6 months, but if it can be 6 month time, because if we have to move, we know we have to move, but at least we can find somewhere, some place to remove everything we have there, because we always there for all our life. But I know people there behind us right here, they have like 40 years been there. The same day they build that flea market, them people there. I thought they don't have nowhere to go right now, but at least they can give us some time. Please, we came to play to help us to stay, at least to sell what we have, make couple money to relocate it another place. Please, we beg for that.
Okay. No one. Citizens forum is closed.
Madam Mayor,
Vice Mayor Taylor.
in regards to citizens forum, through the mayor to the manager, Mr. Ronnie Mitchell brought up the issue with the Siegel Park and the lights and the homeless sleeping on the park. I know that was an issue that was brought up before. Is there any way that we can give them some answer or a plan of action? Or some, because this is an issue that's been brought up on many occasions.
Yes, Vice Taylor, not sure how many occasions, I've only been here for 2 months that this has been brought up, but I do have, we have an agenda item for Siegel Park scheduled to secure the park for the second month in June. And we actually have an agenda item for tonight to secure the park for Shabundi Park tonight.
Perfect.
Mr. Manager, if you can please respond to citizens forum. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'd love to go one by one.
I wasn't.
So as
I wasn't finished.
Mr. Manager,
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Taylor wasn't done. I thought he was done. Continue.
I wasn't done. Okay, so that was that one. The other thing I will say to the flea market, we do sympathize with you. I think I can speak to all of us up here when I say many of us has patronized the flea market in one way, form, or fashion. The tents on my truck came from the flea market. The flea market fixed my tires a couple weeks ago. So we understand, and we, like the man, we hear you. And like the manager told you, we're gonna try our best to help in any way we can. Though, like you said, our hands are tied. Like you said, this is private property. But you have our word that we hear you, and we will try to fight the best of our abilities. Madam Mayor, thank you.
Yes. Albeit I'll go back to you, Mr. Manager, so that you can please answer the questions from Citizens Forum. However, I will open the floor for anyone on the dais that would like to respond in terms of the flea market.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Bass?
I
can
think, thank you.
I can't hear.
I think for all of us, we echo the sentiments of everybody. So, I can recall going to the flea market about maybe starting 35 years ago on a Sunday morning. That's where we would get our fruits and vegetables from. So yeah, the flea market is a part of all of us. We feel your pain. We understand where you're coming from. And I'm sure that we're gonna do the best that we can within our power to make sure the transition is smooth for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do understand that the manager's office has a resolution prepared to address through the relocation of the various vendors of the flea market to an additional location. But after hearing residents' concerns, it seems to be an issue with the 30-day timeline. And I do realize that is not actually addressed in the resolution. So I don't know, the manager's thoughts about, maybe looking at ways that that timeline can be extended. I know in the past, obviously, it was different circumstances. Due to COVID, Miami-Dade County issued an executive order, ultimately instituted moratoriums and therefore directing the county's police department not to enforce evictions or the relocation and displacement of businesses and residents. Obviously, I'm not an attorney and I don't know the legal sufficiency of that, but I would hope that, that is considered or some similar options are to be explored to help aid our business owners in this time of need.
All right, you're up, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, I'd like to say, we hear you and we see you to the vendors of the flea market. And as the city manager of this great city of Opalaca, I want you to know that I am doing everything in my power to support you. And I'm looking to get the support, and I do believe we have the support of all of the commission in every regard to support you in every way that we can. In addition to that, I have already requested a meeting with the owners to discuss extension of the timeline.
Decorum, please, decorum. Thank you. If we could not egg people on to stand up, that'd be great. Thank you.
So we understand that that's not all you need. That's just the beginning. The 30 days is unacceptable to me and to my office and to my administration. And we will bear the weight of this office and the weight of this administration to get that fixed for you. In addition, tonight, we have an emergency agenda item to remove any hardship fees or fees connected whatsoever to a move from one location to another. So we're looking to get that done tonight for you, our vendors of the flea market.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Hello.
And as an additional step, my office has identified several locations we may be able to explore a move, and we have the first site visit tomorrow morning. So we're going to do every effort we can to keep you here within the great city of Opalaca.
Anything else, Mr. Manager, in terms of citizens forum that you would like to address?
Yes,
Or-
yes, I'd like to go one by one to the items that were mentioned. We try to, our administration. tries to
Excuse me,
stay-
Mr. Manager. I'm thinking that, Madam Mayor, if it would be helpful, I can tell you what the law is that I've researched so that maybe his comments can be curtailed based on what you can actually do, if you'd like for me to do that. And then he can comment one by one.
Okay. I thought we would do that when we got to the item.
Right, we could, but what I'm saying is if I tell you, maybe his comments can
Understood.
coincide
My comments are not
with the
like-
actual law.
My comments are not about that. My comments are addressing the citizens forum. I think it would be more appropriate to discuss your review of the law when we bring up the item.
All right.
So if I may continue, I'd like to address one by one the concerns of the citizens as we try to stay in my administration ahead of your concerns. To the concern that there was a deposit that they're looking to receive and also a refund. Please understand our process right now. For 6 years, we have been in financial oversight. So by the state of Florida, that is a contract and an agreement between the state of Florida and the city manager of the city of Opalaca. They review and have to provide approval before I am allowed or permitted to make any financial expenditures. We have received the deposit requests and the refunds, and they're now with the state of Florida awaiting their approval. Once that once that has occurred, it is completely out of my hands and we're unable to expedite a process until the state gives us approval to release those funds. But do know that we have done our due diligence to make that happen for you. A discussion about financial oversight. My administration is preparing a plan with tentative review from the state to pull the city of Opalaca out of financial oversight after 6 years within the next 6 months. So.
Hold on, Mr. Manager.
So once.
Hold on, Mr. Manager, please.
Yes, madam.
Because this is. Okay. So, and we understand tensions are high and we know, we get it, we're with you, but we are in a commission meeting. And I've allowed the clapping because, you are a guest in our meeting, but as of this point, there should be no more clapping, no more shouting, no more standing. If that happens, then I'm sorry, but you will have to be removed. Because I cannot hear, we can't hear, and we need to move the city forward. So I kindly ask you to please, thank you. Mr. Manager, I'm so sorry. Are you addressing citizens forum or are you because right now it's sounding like your report?
I'm addressing citizens forums.
Because I didn't hear anything about oversight in citizens forum.
So let me connect the dots.
Okay.
If I may, Madam Mayor. The reason why I'm unable to release the deposit is because it's been submitted to the state. Another request was a refund. The reason why I'm not able to release the refund is because it's with the state. So the citizens need to understand that process because this is something that becomes before the dais on a monthly basis. We're in state for our natural oversight, and this is what that means. And this is what we're doing to address it. I have nothing further for citizens forum, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to our new items, 14-1.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, requiring the city attorney to submit the required items as delineated in the body of the legislation, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. Sponsored by the city manager.
Mr. Manager.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this addresses the fiscal needs of this city, which I have a fiduciary duty to protect, honor, and serve. We have had challenges predating my time here with securing the appropriate information that we require from the city attorney. I will start with her invoices, with the city attorney's invoices. Upon my arrival here, they were almost 2 years behind at 18 months for her outside litigation bills that are submitted to her firm. At an average rate of $20,000, $15,000 to $20,000 a month, that is an unverifiable liability of $372,000 outstanding, unverified. I am seeking to, with this resolution, to secure those invoices that are outstanding, which are currently from February of 2021 to date. This information is needed and necessary in order for us to move forward with the budgetary process and for me to manage the financial liabilities of the city. In addition, we have a fiscal year audit for 2020 and a fiscal year audit for 2021. I will ask our financial consultant, Ms. Jerry Lazar, to come and speak to the needs for those.
We haven't moved the item yet.
My apologies, Madam Mayor.
We can have a motion to discuss add-on item 14-1.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bass. It's been moved for discussion. I believe you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At this time, I'd like to call Ms. Jerry Lazar, our financial consultant over our finance department.
Madam Mayor, I'm assuming while she's coming up that once she is finished, I will have an opportunity to respond to these comments. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Jerry Lazar, finance consultant with the city of Opalaca. And I also have coming with me Sandra Bridgman, who's also a financial consultant with the city of Opalaca as well. So one of the things that's required when you're in accounting for your transactions is that we're responsible for looking to the Government Accounting Standards Board as well as the Financial Accounting Standards Board. Can you hear me? I'm not projecting loud enough. So the Government Accounting Standards Board is GASB and the Financial Accounting Standards Board is FASB. So we look to them to get guidance in terms of how to account for transactions. We also look to them to get guidance in terms of how to present information in the financial statements. And we also get guidance from them on terms of how to disclose information in the financial statements. And so one of the items that we're having to sort of look at is contingent liabilities. And contingent liabilities are anything that's out there that is a risk where long-term we need to account for in the financial statements. In order to put that together, we need to work with the city attorney to get an idea of what these claims or litigation that may be out there, what they look like. And so we reach out to the city attorney's office to work through that information. We had requested that information back in October of 2021. We received a response from the city's attorney's office in November 2021 stating that we would have the information in a week. We did not receive the information. So in January, I submitted another email to the city attorney's office requesting a follow-up. I know we had gone through some transitions with city managers. And so when a new city manager came on board, we reached out to them and shared that we were having some trouble getting the information as well. And the former interim city manager, Wright, was working with us, and we were told via email that that information had been provided to us. It had not been provided to us. So we then reached out to the city's attorney's office and we requested to hold a meeting with them. So we had a few conversations about it, but we had not received anything. So then we went further and asked IT to schedule a Zoom meeting with us in the city attorney's office, which took place. We had a Zoom meeting where I had Ms. Bridgman and Ms. Cassandra Ojomo, who's not here, sit with the city attorney via Zoom to kind of go through a schedule of what we're trying to create to gather the data. That day, after the Zoom discussion, there were some things that the accountants believed that was pending that they needed from the city attorney's office that they did not receive. And so one of them, Ms. Ojomo, sent an email to the city attorney basically outlining, this is what we discussed, this is what's pending. And so I do have an exhibit of this that I do want to share if possible, where we outlined the information of what we were requesting and what they had discussed in the Zoom meeting. We then submitted that form of what we thought was pending to the city attorney. The city attorney did submit something to us, but it did not reconcile. We couldn't understand it. We still had additional questions. And so we have been explaining to the new city manager that we're still pending the information that we need. I know the city attorney has shared on countless occasions that this information has been provided to us. However, that information is not complete. I can share with you guys this exhibit, and then we can go over an example of something that I think is kind of really simple to kind of go over to make it palatable for everybody. I have a few copies. Please, thank you. So I'll give you a copy. So Exhibit A just has the letter that Ms. Ojomo followed up after the Zoom call, basically stating, this is what's pending. We'd like to reconcile this information. I don't think we need to go into too many details on it. I just want to at least share where the last communication was. So now you have exhibit, well, I don't know if you didn't put the exhibits on there. You have the two schedules, right? You have a Schedule A, and let's say call this Schedule B, okay? Schedule A is what Ms. Ojomo included in the email to the city attorney, basically stating, this is where we are. We still have questions. Please follow up and let us know what's going on. The really big grid basically is what the city attorney sent back to us. And so in reviewing it, we still had a lot of questions, right? So let's look at number 8. If you look at number 8 on here, it discusses a case that we had a question about, right? Is that the one with the settlement? No, I'm sorry, number 9, I apologize. Look at number 9. If you look at the large grid, number 9, the city attorney sends to us, the case is ongoing for purposes of conducting settlement related to property deeds. This case was dismissed in January 2021. Calendar call scheduled for December 5th, 2019. So now she's going back into the future. Settlement includes only the transfer of city real property. All settlement property has been conveyed. So when I see this, my question is, I still have questions. What was conveyed? Did we convey property? Is there a listing of property? What's the total value of the property? Do I need to know this? Is it as of 9/30? Is it as of 9/31? I'm not clear. I'm not the city attorney. I don't have the information. I don't have the backup. I can only rely on the information that has been provided to us. So that's where we are. The information is pending, or it's not clear to me. And that's why I need additional assistance from the city attorney to help us gather this information. So that's where we are. I think there were some other things related to requests from the auditor. That information has been provided. The city attorney did provide that directly to the auditor, and so we do appreciate that. We also asked the city attorney to provide us with all of the invoices for fiscal 20, which she provided to us. We do have that. However, we do not have the information to prepare for the 21 audit, and we are just now receiving this information for the 20 audit, and we're still going through it. I don't know if there's anything that you may want to add. I know you had a conversation with her during the Zoom call. I feel like
Sandra Bridgman, basically, I think it's a matter of just communication. We tried to make it easier so we could move forward. And there were a couple of items during discussion that we covered that may appear minor, but the one specifically related to the property is an issue because depending on the property and the value of it, we either have to add or delete whichever way it goes. So it doesn't only affect this entry, it affects other entries as well. One of the more important thing is a sum, is a total of the liability that was determined to be. So by looking at this without a total, it leads it to believe that, okay, maybe something was missed or not. If you look at the exhibit that Ms. Ojomo sent, it referred to one particular total, but when this item was returned to us, the total was not there. And there are little few items, minor items that we talked about. And I thought during the Zoom meeting, it was a catalyst to get a little bit more information on the things that were missing. So I thought there would be a follow-up, but unfortunately with the miscommunication, it didn't occur. And that's why this item is still open for us because it's not complete on its form. That's all I wanted to add.
so. The information is still pending. We're willing to work with the city attorney to gather the information, but we need her assistance. And it's not something by email where you can just kind of okay, this is done. we have questions. It's not clear, and we're willing to work with her to get the information together. Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
No, I had a question.
Yeah, I'm coming. Ms. Lazier, before we ask you or anyone asks you any questions, I'm gonna default to Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, as you all saw in the email that was just sent recently, just yesterday and today, I specifically asked, Ms. Lazier wrote 2 days ago, this is the format that we're looking for. I specifically wrote in the format that she said she was looking for, which was like a paragraph. What you see as an attachment here is an attachment that I have provided for the last couple of years, which has been fine. It was fine. I provided it before. You can look at, and I had my office, which I'm happy to, and you weren't here, Mr. Williams, so I don't know why you would be shaking your head, but I had my office forward to me exactly what we provided. And it was an overlay of these things, just knocking out the things that had been already settled. Now, a couple things that you all should know. First of all, the Zoom call was a call that was suggested by me. It wasn't something Ms. Lazier in her office just said, oh, let me have a Zoom call. No, it was suggested by me and it was set up by the city. And then prior to that time, we actually had 2 other meetings with Ms. Lazier. The third meeting was with Ms. Cassandra, who's with her. And we were all on the phone and we went through line by line. If you look at and then what happened before and what happened this time, they add up the values. I mean, why would I need to add up the values? We did tell them that we were in the midst of the property transfers. There were some problems with the property transfer, although the case had settled in the case that she's talking about. There were some issues with Miami-Dade County and the deed issues, and we had to have those deeds, a couple of the deeds corrected, or the whatever it wasn't right. And so we had to send back 2 of them and do those things and deal with those issues. And so we explained that to her. So we don't know what the value is. And what we told her was that you can take the values off of the Miami-Dade Property Appraiser's Office. They have certain values and maybe you add them up. And I'm assuming that's what they did to come up with the $1 million for the settlement, dealing with the settlement issue. But that wasn't even a 2020 issue. So when this issue was initially presented as something that needed to be done in connection with the audit. That's what was initially said. What we found out, and you all have seen through the email, and I started copying you when I realized it was escalating, but really it was escalating due to other things unrelated to this. And I think all of this got tied in because I did have a conversation with Ms. Lazar where I said, do you have everything you need? I wrote her this month, this thing that you're looking at right now was completed in March. It wasn't something that was just done as was communicated. It was completed in March after our Zoom meeting. They added up the values after that. Most of the things on this sheet have to do with $25,000 deductibles that are League of Cities issues. Now, I did everything that I could to avoid this issue from coming before you because I don't think it's necessary. I think if legitimately the manager would have instructed now Mrs. Zara is his staff, if he legitimately wanted to work through these issues, that would have happened because I reached out, I called, I emailed, I asked her weeks ago, let's talk, let's meet, nothing, crickets. And I have the email to prove it, right? I have the email to prove it. So the bottom line is most recently, and you all saw it, I wrote first thing this morning, the commission, some of you told me you wanted this resolved. I reached out. She said she'd get back with me, never did get back with me today, wrote her about noon, said it's 4 hours later, she'll give me a call, is what she wrote earlier in the day, never did give a call. So this is the spectacle that the manager wanted to lead because I try to stand up for my firm, get information that I need, and this is like retaliation because I will tell you all that nothing is necessary through this audit based on what Ms. Lazar has said today that I haven't done. What normally happens in all cities is that you have the outside auditors will send a letter to the person who's handling a file, a particular file, and the person who's done substantial legal work for a particular file, and they do it at a threshold amount. Now, this exercise that I'm going through, and I've been going through for the last couple of years with Ms. Lazar, which I did the same exact way. I even wrote the letter saying that when she wrote earlier in the week and copied all of you and said she just needs this and this is the format. I even put that in a letter. Hey, maybe is this enough? Never did hear anything back what the issue was. Now I'm hearing the issue. Well, now I'm confused because apparently they had a meetings with you all yesterday, and there were representations made that something was needed from the state by Friday, right? So I didn't hear anything in her presentation about something needed from the state by Friday. I have never heard that before. Nobody communicated to me that anything about anything needed by the state by Friday. And so what generally happens is the auditors reach out again and they give you, you get information, you give them information about the things that have a substantial likelihood of being over a threshold amount. In this case, the auditors mentioned for 2020, $100,000. We went beyond that. We even listed things that had nothing to do with, and it says in the letter specifically things that you have spent a substantial amount of time on. There were 2 items in that letter, and there was like 3 items altogether, but there were 2 items in the letter, and that I don't have anything to do with, but I listed them as being things that have a substantial liability. For instance, the water class action litigation case. I listed that on the issue. That is listed here on the report. If you look at this report in front of you and look at the one that has the values on it, and they always add the values. I've never added up the values. If you look at the values that are to the right on the smaller sheet, you will see that the majority of these things are, say, $25,000. That's $25,000 representing the deductible for the League of Cities. That's the bulk of this. The other 2 things represent $1 million, $1.1 million for the class action settlement, and $1 million that they came up with for the value of the properties. Now, not once, not never have I received an email, even though I've written Ms. Lazar several times asking her, hey, do you have everything you need? You have everything you need? No response, crickets again. Not once did I receive anything saying, you know, what I need is the value of the properties. You know, please tell us. Now, I don't determine the value of the property. I'm not an appraiser, but what we did do was we signed off on the email that I sent back saying that, you know, basically if they determine that to be, we'll accept that, that's fine. This is not required anywhere in any city. And I've asked her, and Ms. Lazar said, well, we have our own. Can you? Yeah, I'll try to speed up, but this is not required anywhere. We've done what we were supposed to do pursuant to responding to the audit. The audit was for 2020. They're not on 2021. If we're talking about bills being late, Ms. Lazar's bills are late. Okay, and so that's the only thing that really the manager wanted to highlight for you all today. That's the reason why they're here. That's the reason why we're talking about this, because he wanted to let you all know that my bills are late. It's not that I'm not doing the work. Yes, one more second, Madam Mayor. My bills are late, and it's because they're late because what I do is I go through each of the bills and I charge you all for one attorney doing one thing on those bills. So what happens, and what I've been doing is, instead of 4 attorneys, I've assigned 5 attorneys work for the city. Miss Pam Booker, who if you go to planning and zoning, she's
Madam Attorney, I just want us to move through. And I understand, right. I know you're naming.
And as I wrap up, and I'll skip that, but as I wrap up, there is nothing that's needed for the audit for this. This is to bring to the attention that my billing is late. There is nothing. If we could have talked about this today, if it was a property issue, they have it on the report as $1 million. Okay, so what are you looking for from me? What more would I do?
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lazier.
Yes, ma'am.
there were questions asked. What do you need? What?
So we need Miss the Attorney to go through the listing and to give us the information as clear as possible.
Give what information?
So, for example, that case was before 9/30/2020.
Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
Yes,
I mean-
Mr. Manager.
Yes.
I don't know if
So-
this is appropriate.
Isn't she the person who has the information? Doesn't she?
Madam
I
Mayor.
appreciate your saying, allowing her to
Madam
say
Mayor.
what
Wait,
information,
Madam Mayor,
because
Madam Mayor.
I don't know still
Hold
as I
on,
sit
hold
here.
on,
Madam
hold
Mayor.
on, everybody. Hold on. Yes.
Thank you. I'm asking that we defer this item because we can't do this in public. We cannot do this in public. And it seems like there's a communication issue, so I'm asking that you all behind the scene work on this. Because we can't, this is what we're showing the people out there. We're professionals going back and forth. I'm asking that this item be deferred. Please.
Madam Mayor,
Oh, that
I'm
was
sorry,
Commissioner
Commissioner Taylor, you
Davis.
still have the floor? Okay.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
It came to my attention a few weeks back that a concern that was highlighted initially during our city's last financial emergency board meeting on December 15th, 2021, relative to the billing of outside litigation fees from our city attorney's office that has not been resolved. My colleagues and myself have received numerous correspondence via emails between the city manager's office and the city attorney's office regarding this issue. In an attempt to mediate the matter in a transparent and professional way, I requested a special meeting so that we can have the discussion in a public forum and to make the community aware of the issue and to provide an opportunity for them to weigh in. After several failed attempts to resolve the matter privately and internally. I also took the time to confirm with the state of Florida's Auditor General's office as soon as yesterday. And this is still an issue moving forward. And it was stated to me that nothing has been done to address the concerns raised initially in December 2021 at the last financial emergency board meeting that was held with the state of Florida Financial Emergency Board. Members of the city commission, both past and present, at least 2 city managers and the Auditor General's office, who all share the same concerns regarding the expenditure of outside legal fees and accurately budgeting and managing its fiscal impact. At my request, a special commission meeting was confirmed by the clerk's office on May 23rd, 2022, which at that time I received the confirmation via phone call. The very next day, I received a call stating that there was no longer a quorum present and that members of the commission asked that their availability for the previously confirmed meeting not be disclosed to the board member requesting the meeting. After which I requested an official opinion from the city manager's office as to the legal sufficiency of this statement that has yet to be provided. As recent as today, I received an email from the Office of the City Attorney corresponding with our finance department and basically asking the reason as to why outside of the monthly retainer of $16,000, why should outside legal fees that are not yet realized or quantified for this fiscal year and beyond in our city's financial audits and budgeting process specifically needed to be provided to them? The bottom line is this. I received communications from both the state of Florida and our city's finance departments that have stated that the outside legal fees and the overall analysis of various legal determinations, in fact, needed to be provided, as well as outside legal fees for the city attorney's office dating back to the time period of January 2021 to April 2022. As their officers have not received any communication from our attorney's office referencing billing since that time. I will also say that this current city manager has in good faith asked for those documents several times as provided through emails in which all members of the commission were copied on. When it's clearly outlined in an attorney's service contract and requested by several other sources tasked with managing the city finances. The bottom line is I am troubled to state while this issue was previously presented in December 2021 at the last financial emergency board meeting, it still has not been resolved and is creating even more of a financial burden on the city as we have not received budget projections for outside legal fees for the upcoming fiscal year that's approaching fiscal year 23 ahead of our budget season, which is slated to start in July of this year. We also haven't received information relative to the FY20 audit. According to paragraph 4 of the attorney's professional service contract, it is her firm's responsibility and duty to prepare a proposed budget within 60 days of any litigation matter which is not taking place. This makes it extremely hard as elected members of this city to fulfill our fiduciary and chartered responsibility of managing debt, ensuring that the city has an annual independent audit with clean opinions and a balanced budget. In addition to not receiving these financial documents to make adequate financial and budgetary decisions on behalf of the residents we represent, we also have an issue without accurately quantifying the fiscal impact of all legal cases dating back to September 30th, 2020. It is the current practice that litigation matters are brought to the board on an individual basis in shade meetings for direction. However, it's imperative that we receive comprehensive to include total amounts of the fiscal analysis as legal decisions and outcomes ultimately have a fiscal impact. That must be realized before we can make any financial decisions for the upcoming fiscal year ahead of this budget season. It is my hope that these documents can be provided so that we can effectively and officially move this city forward in a way that is productive for our residents and upholds a culture of financial accountability that preserves the fiscal integrity of this city and ensures that we remain financially solvent. As we are still in a state of financial emergency, which we would like to come out of soon, hopefully really soon. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may respond just briefly.
No.
Just briefly, Madam Mayor, because I feel like I'm being used as a political ping pong and it's unfortunate and it's unfair. And if I just may. So what Commissioner, some of the things that were just said were just inaccurate. And I won't go through it because I don't want to, he is my boss. But I will say that if you look on this sheet that you have in front of you, there are very few cases that we brought the water cases all before you because we had to. There are very few cases that we even handle. These cases are handled by the League of Cities. Our liability has gone down each and every month. It hasn't even been the last couple of bills that we've done that, by the way, the manager has not even processed. He didn't even send to Jerry. I did. The last couple of bills for litigation expenses were well below. They were not over $20,000. It's gone down and down and down as we've been able to settle cases, have cases dismissed, have cases put out for summary judgment. Those different things, the liability has decreased. So the liability is not with our office in terms of, and they've never said, sit down or give us an amount or whatever. And if they have historical data, they can extrapolate and take that historical data, Madam Mayor, and then use that for whatever projections they're trying to make.
But so we're gonna be here all night, like literally, it's gonna be a ping pong match all night.
Madam Mayor, may I speak? I have not had the opportunity to speak on this.
Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
There are a lot of issues. First of all, I would like to correct the record for Ms. Lazar and her firm. What the city attorney stated is factually incorrect. Ms. Lazar's bills are up to date.
No,
But
that
that
must
is
have
not-
just happened then.
And
because that's
it
not
is
what I was
my
told.
office that has the authority to make that statement,
That's
not yours.
that's not what I was told just
Okay.
I
2
don't, I
weeks
don't know
ago.
where you're getting your information
Mr.
from, ma'am.
Hold on. This is publicized. And quite frankly, none of y'all live in Opa-locka. I'm sorry. I mean, come on.
And I'm in agreement with that, Madam
No,
Mayor.
we
I am in
can't-
agreement
no,
with that,
we-
Madam
this
Mayor,
is-
because
this is what
the
you
email
wanted.
that I received was
This
the
is what
most
you wanted.
unprofessional email that I have ever received in my
So
career.
we are
This is
going
garbage.
to vote on this item so we can figure out behind closed doors what we need to do, because duking it out in public, it is counterproductive. We're not going to get anywhere. So
Madam Mayor, if you would have voted on this
No,
item,
no,
I could
no.
not perform to do what's
we can't-
here, like to produce all these bills by the end of this month.
Attorney, hold
I'm
on.
sorry.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
with all due
Commissioner
respect,
Davis.
we operate in the sunshine, and I asked for a special meeting to have this forum in the public.
This isn't a public.
I understand that, and we're having this conversation. I understand that, but I've also polled for a special commission meeting. I understand that, which I'm not even gonna go into. This forum I requested to have in a public forum. Like, if this isn't the place to have it, where are we gonna have it? Because obviously we can't, like, how do we intend to solve this issue by having individual meetings? I don't understand how it's gonna get resolved. It's been a lot of
Well, you
back
can
and
see on
forth.
the
You've been
chat.
having email after email. No members of the commission, nobody has been picking up the issue to take it. I've taken the initiative to talk to the state of Florida to, review emails from our finance department and speak with the attorney. This is not a new issue that has fallen out of the sky. I had the same conversation that I'm having now in December of 2021, December 21st, 2021, when the last financial emergency board take place. So it's not me saying it, it's the state saying it. It's our finance department saying it. So this notion that what I'm saying is misleading or untrue is preposterous.
So, no, I don't want to stop the commission because it's the commission's responsibility to have this discussion. But what we're not going to do is have a boxing match between two charter members. That we're not going to do. So I'm in agreement, Commissioner Davis, if that's the will of the commission to have the discussion. However, we don't have blinders on. You can see how this discussion is going. So if this is, I understand and know you are not the only one that have had these conversations and have heard, because my very first year on the dais, I did hear that as well. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. But if are we here about an audit or are we here about billing? Like, we're hearing, it's just back, forth. I'm not clear. And I want to be clear in everything I do. And because of the way this went, which I knew this was going to happen, how do I make a decision?
Madam Mayor,
Let me finish, please. How do we make a decision? A decision based on what we need to do to move forward. Again, we live in this city. None of y'all do, quite frankly. I'm sorry. And hate me tomorrow. I don't care. So everything we do up here is for the residents. And I hear you, Commissioner Davis. I'm just saying we cannot do what is happening at the end of the day. Is we can't do that. And I just want us to bring it back to some decorum. Now, Commissioner Dominguez.
thank you, Madam Mayor. We're here to bring legislation and set policies as a commission. The city manager has a role, and so does the city attorney has a role. I really don't know why we going back and forth with these emails when they could clearly meet together as a body and figure out what is it that each member wants and needs. I don't understand why these emails have been popping all day for the past week. I mean, it's something that should have been clear between the city attorney and the city manager, quite frankly, and, you know, the finance department. If there's issues, if they're missing invoices, you know, going back and forth, we're not gonna be able to address it or clear it out. So I just wish that you guys can get together, sit together and try to clear whatever issues you both have, and that we can move forward, because we're not getting anywhere, as
Madam
the
Mayor.
mayor stated.
And Madam Mayor, I'm willing to do that, and I have been.
Madam Mayor.
Yes,
Madam Mayor,
yes, Vice Mayor Taylor.
I make a motion to close the debate and call for the question.
Madam Mayor, I just want to let you all
Madam
know
Mayor.
that
No,
it
No,
it
there's
would
a-
be
There's a motion on the
impossible.
floor to close the debate and call for question.
Okay. All right.
There
We
has
have
to
a
be, it has to be a second for that.
Mhm. Can I have a second for the motion?
To close the debate and call for the question.
I second it.
Okay. The debate is closed. Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm
Ma'am.
listening. I apologize.
Madam Clerk? Can you please call for the question?
Are we on the motion to close the debate and call for the question?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the roll call on that. Commissioner Bass? Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor?
This is the motion, yes.
This is your motion to
Yes,
close.
yes.
Yeah, the motion to
Okay.
close.
Mayor Williams?
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0. And for the vote on 14-1, Vice Mayor Taylor,
No.
Commissioner Bass,
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
So we're now voting for the actual agenda item. Go ahead, Commissioner. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk.
yes, Madam
Can you
Mayor.
please call the vote?
I'm sorry.
I'm actually on Commissioner Bass.
Discussion is, we voted to close discussion.
So just for I'm sorry, Madam Mayor,
I'm listening.
for clarification, there was,
This is.
Come, Madam Attorney, please, can we?
so.
Madam Clerk, can you please give us some clarity, because there's a lot going on.
Yes, so we had a motion by Taylor, was seconded by Commissioner Dominguez to close the debate and call for the question on 14-1. That passed by 5-0 vote. Now we're voting on 14-1, the actual item.
Yes.
So Commissioner Bass?
You starting over or what are we doing?
Okay, I'll start over from Vice Mayor Taylor.
I said no, because I want them to work it out.
I have that. Commissioner Bass?
I have a question. That's what I do. I have a
Ma'am.
question.
The question is over.
No, I'm sorry. I have a question. What happens if the attorney is not able to produce this information by the due date?
So who's the question directed
What
to?
happens? Well, I
And
guess.
Are we,
Jerry, through city
Hold-
manager.
hold
What
on.
happens? No, I'm sorry, because this is serious business. I'm not gonna sit here and just give a vote because I'm supposed to give a vote. We're here to represent 17,000 people. I want to go home. I'm tired, but I'm not just gonna say yes or no because I'm ready to go or somebody wants me to say yes or no. I don't operate like that. What happens if the information that we need is not in place by due date?
So-
Manager to Ms. Jerry, whomever.
Madam Mayor.
Madam,
What happens?
Hold
Madam
on,
Mayor.
one-
Madam
wait,
Mayor.
hold on. Miss Flores, Joanna, get some Pepsi.
Yes,
Madam
Mayor. I'm
Go get some coffee.
listening.
So my question to you is, we were in the middle of a vote. Is it okay for us to stop the vote and defer this as a question? I do hear what Commissioner Bass is saying, but we are in the middle of a vote. We really, Robert's rules, we can't stop the vote to ask a question.
You are correct, Madam.
Yes.
We just did a motion to close the
made a
debate.
motion to-
So you guys can make a vote.
No,
When you're done,
we
I'll come
not-
back. How about that? Make a vote. When you're done, I'll come back.
Okay. So again, as the chair have to follow Robert's rules. We were in the middle of a vote.
Madam Mayor, that's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question for legal. I defer.
Question
the
to
city
legal.
attorney.
Generally speaking, you would vote. However, in the chair's discretion, if there is a question, you could give that courtesy, but generally
Okay.
speaking, Robert's rules would require you to vote.
Okay, so we can give the courtesy and pause the vote in order to have Commissioner Bass speak.
If that is the will of the chair, yes, ma'am.
It is the will of the chair. Where is Commissioner Bass?
She stepped out
Okay, come on.
and now she's back.
Thank you. I just need an answer to my question before I make my vote.
So to be
Mike?
clear, there are several ramifications that could happen if we do not receive the information. As I stated, interim city manager James Wright requested an extension for the 2020 audit, which JLAC has not responded to. They generally respond right away, and they have in the past. Since I have been city manager, have also requested an extension of the audit for at least 30 days from JLAG. They have not responded. The reason why I called this meeting is because this is not personal to me. This is an issue that has been going on. The first request was on October 15th. In my emails to the city attorney, I have never copied a member of the dais. It has been my every effort to try to resolve this issue professionally and soundly and reasonably. In addition, the spreadsheet that the city attorney referred to and that you have in your hands, my staff created that. We have made every single effort to address this issue without moving forward in this direction. I have exhausted all efforts. I would have even preferred to do another session, but we are out of time. The current deadline for the fiscal year 2020 audit is May 31st. We've been requesting this.
Did anyone hear
we-
Jerry say she has everything for me for the 2020 audit? I just want to know if
Okay,
anybody heard that.
so we,
Did anybody hear
I
that?
yield-
Because
I
that's what
yield.
the auditors said.
I yield, Madam.
The auditors
no,
have
no,
said
no,
they
no,
have
no, no,
everything
no.
they need from
No,
me.
we
He's
gotta-
talking about billing.
we have to have the.
That's what this
quorum.
meeting is about, billing.
Okay.
I'm good.
You ne-
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I'm good.
Madam Mayor, point of order. I just want to get to the business of the people. We just had a group of business owners come in here and we haven't even gotten
Exactly.
close to the item and please, can we just move the agenda along? Madam Mayor.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
So this is on the roll call on 14-1, Vice Mayor Taylor,
No.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez, I'm sorry,
Yes.
She said yes.
Mayor Williams?
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
Can I ask, Madam Mayor, for reconsideration of this motion because I cannot physically do this. The manager knows that. There is no way I can physically do this and it's not even necessary.
We have to move along.
Okay.
We have to move along. We have to move along. Okay. I can figure out where I'm going here. Okay. Item 14.2. 14.3. Madam Attorney, if you can read it into the record.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, approving the recommendation of the Historic Environmental Preservation Board to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the structure at 806 Jan Avenue to allow for the replacement of 3 windows and a door on registered historic property, providing for an effective date.
Wait, I don't. That's not my 14.3. Hold on. Madam Clerk, I have forego collection of the city.
I'm sorry,
For
Madam Mayor.
14.3. I have a different. Is that the same? Yeah. but that's-
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, so we're on 14.3, which is the flea market item.
Yeah, well, no, I was saying, Madam Attorney read a different item.
So I can provide her with a copy.
Madam Attorney?
Okay, that would be great.
Thanks.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, authorizing the city manager to forego collection of the City of Opalaca fees associated with obtaining an occupational license for 1 year for all vendors of the Opalaca flea market, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Yes, Madam Attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Yes, Madam Mayor.
If you can introduce the item.
The purpose of this item is to provide my administration the ability to facilitate and support the vendors of the flea market. We had to bring this as an emergency item. As these events are just unfolding now, we wanted to be able to address their needs and support them. And in anticipation of them coming out tonight, I wanted to have something before the dais for you all to vote on so that they can know what I already know is that every single member up here supports facilitating and helping those vendors as best we can. This is a first step. It will allow them, even if they on their own find a location within the city to move their business to quickly. They will not have to incur fees from the city of Opalaca in doing so. Additionally, my office is taking additional steps to actually support and find a new location.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to discuss add on item 14.3?
Move it.
Move it.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Moved by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Bass. Any discussion from the commission?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Dominguez.
I'd like to know approximately how many vendors are we looking to assist at the flea market, and what would be the financial impact, if any?
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, please.
So I performed the fiscal impact study today. We estimate that there are approximately 714 vendors there. with the total fees of $75 for a business license certificate, $150 for a certificate of use. $75 is an estimate, as you'll find in the resolution form. Water and sewer verification, $25, mechanic inspection, electrical inspection, plumbing inspection, code enforcement inspection, each $30 each. The expected liability of this is just $65,000. We anticipate approximately 175 vendors may take advantage of this. And the total exposure is about 259,000. That is if all 714 vendors took advantage of this opportunity.
Madam Mayor, can I give you?
Yes, I do believe you had some.
Yeah, so everything that he just said, none of it is in the resolution. So I don't know where that comes from. But in any event, what controls here is Florida statutes 205.162. And it only allows for, and it's actually it's called, the proper name is business tax receipts. And as opposed to occupational license, the name is changed in the statute. It allows for exemptions only under certain circumstances. And that relates to if it's an individual 65 years or older, per 205.162, if it's a disabled individual, if it's someone who is widowed, the spouses of a disabled veteran, a widow with minor dependents, someone who has been disabled, honorably discharged as a veteran. These are things that the statute specifically says can be a waiver of a business tax receipt. The only thing that is mentioned that I see in this resolution is foregoing collection of fees associated with occupational license. And it does have some mention in paragraph, the third whereas clause of certificate of use and water and sewer verification. And I'm not sure, and it talks about waiver of those things, but the title has to do with occupational license. So I guess if it was intended that these also are included, that's not a part of the title, I guess. But based on what the mayor is saying, based on what the manager is saying, each of those things, I would have to go through and figure out what the specific code requirements are for a waiver. But I can tell you with respect to the business tax receipt, what I told you in terms of the exemptions are the only thing that you can consider. The other thing that I found in your code has to do with the places where a flea market can operate, or something like a flea market, and it has to be at least 25 acres. And so, I don't know if there's a lot of places like that in the city, but you all should know that it has to be at least 25 acres for a site. So that is information specifically outlined in your zoning code. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. After hearing the attorney's opinion relative to her research and looking at the statute, it appears to be, how the item is presented with the business license, or in her case, the official language of the statute, which alludes to business tax receipts, which is basically the same thing. I will be in favor of the item moving forward, minus the business license or business tax receipt. And that's contended upon because the various categories that she alluded to seems to be in line with what federal and state legislation outlines as protected classes. Like I see exempt for, obviously people 65 or older, disabled, widowed. So those options may still be available for the larger population of business owners or vendors that's included in the group that we're looking to locate. So if the item could be passed minus the business tax receipts, item with a special exception for those that fall under the protected classes that are outlined. Yeah, I think that would be the best way to move forward. And of course, that can, the attorney can chime in, because again, I'm not an attorney.
Through the mayor, the way that you would do it is allow for the exemptions as set forth in Florida statutes 205.162. And again, as far as the other things, I don't know if those would be legally sufficient, because I don't know what all of these things state within your code, like the certificate of use. Maybe that's when I suggested maybe there's someone from that department who may be able to, who deals with these issues all day for the city, and may be able to tell you what issues might stand in the way of verification of mechanical, electrical, plumbing. I would think that those are building code type things that wouldn't easily be just waivable. But maybe someone, I don't know if Mr. Gay is over that department, maybe he has more information. So, I don't want to tell you all, go ahead and vote on it. And I've had literally zero time other than sitting here today to do any research on it.
Okay. Anyone else from the commission? Okay, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Manager, for taking the necessary steps to do something. Something needed to be done. And we were all, I know I was inundated with emails and attempted to respond to a few. Some were in English, some were in Spanish. But again, thank you so much, Mr. Manager, for for bringing this item forward on an emergency basis. And it just goes to show that, you're here for the community. So,
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Madam Clerk,
Madam Mayor.
roll call, please.
Commissioner Davis?
Madam Mayor, before we take the roll call, can I put a motion on the floor to include the item contingent upon the business license, and if the attorney could help me with the language for the amendment?
Okay.
Because I would not want to vote on the item with business licenses included, given, her opinion.
Totally agree.
But I would totally support it in the event that the protected classes that were outlined, exemptions for those who are 65 and older. I do know that the group that spoke earlier had a significant amount of business owners that may have actually fallen in that category. So we may be able to, still provide that resource and capture it as a part of, what we're trying to accomplish here. So,
Okay.
Madam, through the chair,
Okay.
Madam Attorney, if you could help me with the language.
Yes, so there's an amendment on the floor for the item. Is that okay, Mr.
Absolutely, amendment accepted.
Manager, Attorney? Okay.
And through the mayor, to answer Commissioner Davis's question, I would recommend that you pass it subject to the exemptions outlined in Florida statutes 205.162 and as otherwise permitted by Florida law, because I don't know, again, if you can just waive sewer and different other things that are required, may be required by a building code. I don't know that you can do that. And so if you would allow, that language, then if you can't do it, then I can, give the managers that information. But I don't believe, and I think probably, again, I've said it before, there's probably some staff here that may be able to come up and tell you all, give you all additional information
Well, that would be the manager that would direct the staff. to come up.
Yes,
So
exactly. So
I'm-
perhaps he may do that. This is
But,
his item.
Okay. Is the will of the commission, do you all need staff to come up and speak? Yes? Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do believe that I'd want to provide the city attorney whatever information she needs, but I do believe that they are self-explanatory in their title with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are inspections. Water and sewers are verification, something that we do this to ensure that they've gone down to WASD. The certificate of use, I believe we're all familiar with that. And the business license, which is in question, she's already provided an amendment for. So at this time, I will take any questions myself regarding these. But keeping in mind too, when we say we're not going to collect the fees, that does not mean that the work will not be done. We're just not going to charge them for it.
Okay, so the motion stands with the amended language, as long as we have that word contingency or contingent upon that the city attorney included. Is we okay with that, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay,
I would definitely second a motion.
yes, the
Yeah.
motion to amend.
But I
Thank
would
you.
like it to be read in the record.
Yes.
Exactly how.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only.
So, Madam
Madam Attorney.
Attorney,
Yes, Madam Mayor. Subject to the exemptions outlined in Florida statutes 205.162 and other applicable provisions of Florida law.
all right, it was now read into record. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0 on the amendment.
okay. We're now on item 16A. This is a first
Madam
reading.
Mayor, I need a vote on the original motion.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Need a vote, a motion.
I have a motion.
You
and
have
a
the motion.
second. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis,
What are we voting on?
the original motion.
Oh, the
on
original
item.
motion, yes.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
okay. Right, maybe we'll. Moving on to item 16A1, Madam Attorney.
And just so that I'm clear, is this the one with the appropriateness, certificate of appropriateness? Madam Clerk? Historic,
No.
which one is this?
You- Chris.
16A1, oh, I'm sorry, that would be the ordinance.
16A1. yeah.
Okay. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida pertaining to the storage of boats and watercraft vessels, amending Article 5, Section 22-114 of the City of Opalaca's Land Development Regulations, providing for certain definitions, requiring ownership or lease of parked boats and residential property, prohibiting encroachment of boats upon any portion of the front yard, permitting only minor and noiseless repairs of boats, prohibiting boat trailers used for living or sleeping quarters, providing for a registration process for boats and personal watercraft, amending Chapter 7, Article 1, Section 7-6 of the City of Opalaca's Code of Ordinances to add new number 105, establishing a $100 fee for boat and watercraft vessels permit registration, amending Section 2-570.33 of the City of Opalaca's Code of Ordinances to establish a civil penalty for noncompliance, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Williams.
Okay.
Move it.
Second.
We, I haven't called for the motion yet. I'm going to introduce the item. It's pretty self-explanatory. However, I will say that we know we're in the midst of beautification projects and just making sure that if residents own boats and watercrafts, that they're registered. This is something that most cities do. Researching that, we know that the boats have gotten larger and larger and larger. I mean, I've seen yachts in the yards of our residents. So it's not to deter people to say not to own watercraft, but they need to be registered. And this is something that most surrounding cities do. I would like to preface one other thing. This was also mentioned when we talk about housing. We would never think, because of course, in our minds, we're thinking watercraft to go on the water, specifically the larger boats. But one thing that I learned during the mayor's roundtable, and this is just one item that I will introduce the second one soon, is that people are using boats and trailers to live in. And so this is something, the legislation talks about not living in or not taking up residence inside a watercraft. And I know, we understand that during this housing crisis that we're in, people are doing whatever they can do to survive, but we do have to take one thing into consideration as a city. When 3 people live in a house or 5 people live in that particular residence and 3 more live on that boat or live in that trailer, we are overextending the city's resources. And that's something that we have to take in count. So that person is paying for 3 people to live in the house for water, for trash removal, for everything else. But technically 8 people are using the water. So we're overextending the sewer system. We're overextending everything, which is why we tend to see more cars in yards now. We see, when we talk about beautification, even along the corridor of 22nd Avenue, Alabama, there are more cars. And so we need to keep that in mind. I would like to make an amendment, though, to the legislation to include a warning first before the actual ticket. So the residents will receive the warning, and before they actually receive the second warning would be the code violation. All right. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. I need a motion to discuss agenda item 16A1.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second for discussion.
second for discussion by Vice Mayor Taylor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Taylor?
Yes, for discussion. Yes. That's what we're
Oh,
doing.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
We're doing discussion, right?
No.
Okay.
Shouldn't have called for the vote yet. Sorry. Yes, Vice Mayor Taylor.
Okay, though I do understand the resolution, I just can't in good conscience support it. We're in an economic crisis, and I don't think taking punitive action against our residents is wise right now. Gas prices are high, we have high insurance. You can't even buy a baby formula. So to add an additional tax or an additional assessment on our residents in this current climate, I don't think it's wise of us. We have to think about our residents. And though $100 to a lot of people may not be a lot of money, but $100 is a lot of money to a community that average income is $16,000 a year. So at this time, I cannot support this. I'm not taking, and we have the highest taxes in Florida. So
So if, are you done?
yes, ma'am, I'm done.
Okay. So again, if you own a watercraft, and if you know, like I know, watercraft, in order to fuel that watercraft, takes a lot more money than $100. $100 is not a lot of money if you own a watercraft, especially a yacht that's sitting in your yard. This is a yearly assessment. I am definitely for, and I'm not going to even allow that to be known that we are not, that I am not looking out for those in a recession, for those that need baby formula, for those that don't have the money. However, watercrafts are a luxury. They are a luxury. And so if you cannot afford $100 a year, then how do you afford a yacht and a jet ski? I'm just saying, so I understand that part. However, again, you can go and review the video. This is something that we spoke about and that was said by multiple mayors, that this is what's happening with the watercrafts, as well as the trailers in the yard. So our code enforcement, our police, they are overextended by the number of people that have watercrafts. We can't even drive through the streets half the time because of them. That's why I brought this item up. Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I also have concerns regarding this because if these residents already have to assess a fee of obtaining a license, and now we're gonna give them another, have to do another license. Now, I'm pretty sure that code enforcement does not have the manpower to go to each of these residents that own a boat that are normally in the back and to see if they have a license or a tag. I'm not understanding what's the purpose. I will not support it because of that. Because I know that they don't have the manpower to go to these residents. And to be honest with you, the majority of these people that own boats are Hispanics. They are.
You serious?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so what we not gonna do is make it a race thing.
Well, I
That's what
already-
we're not
I
gonna
already-
do
I-
unless you got facts and figures.
I have facts.
If you have facts and figures,
Yes, I do.
well, where are they?
I will
Where
get
your
them for
facts
you.
and where your figures
I
that
will-
this is a Hispanic thing? And this is
I will get it.
unfortunate that here in the city, that this is what we're gonna do, is make it about a Black and a Hispanic thing. So it almost, and here we are with the reverse racism, saying that Black people don't own boats.
Okay, we'll see.
That's the
I will
unfortunate
not
part.
support it. I'm sorry.
Is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call?
Vice Mayor Taylor,
No.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes, on the first reading.
Commissioner Dominguez,
No.
Mayor Williams,
Yes.
motion passes first
For the Black
reading.
and Hispanic.
Yeah. Exactly.
We talk about the quorum, y'all. We talk about the quorum. It applies to us too. It applies to the commission too.
It does, but we're not gonna be,
So,
we're not gonna do
Let's
that.
move the meeting along professionally.
16A2, and it was 16A2, Madam Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opalaca, Florida, approving the request of 3205 Northwest 132nd Street LLC to rezone the property located at 3805 Northwest 132nd Street, identified by folio number 08-2129-010-0090 for the construction and operation of a construction and demolition and waste processing facility on the property in the I3 zoning district, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Mr. Manager, can you please introduce the item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to call Gregory Gay, our Director of Planning and Community Development.
Madam Mayor, members of the commission, Gregory Gay, Director of Planning and Community Development. This is an item that was brought before us about a year and a half ago regarding a construction and demolition recycling facility. It's in the I3 industrial area of the city of Opalaca. This particular group presented at that particular time a site plan and development agreement associated with the zoning change. At that time, the commission approved the site plan and the development agreement, but the accompanying zoning change was to change it from I3 to I2 to allow for a construction and demolition recycling operation within a wholly enclosed building. That particular item was denied by a 2-2 vote. So it's been about a year now. The people representing the company, along with their attorney who's present, they basically have brought this item back before you. They did ask for reconsideration for this item to be brought back for the commission at the last meeting. That was approved, and thus this item is being brought before you at this time. You should have records relating to when the item was, when the site plan and the development agreement was passed previously. The only thing that we're entertaining at this time is the changing of the zoning, which would allow for the site plan and the development agreement to move forward for this particular project. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open.
Good evening, Hope Calhoun, land use attorney for the applicant. Thank you for the last meeting, allowing us to come before you tonight on this request. As city staff just advised, when this item was presented to a commission, some of you were sitting, some of you were not. There was a related site plan that was approved and a development agreement that was approved. It appears that one of the things that was some of the things that were stated at the last consideration when those items were approved was that there was the site plan and the development agreement were approved because members of the commission wanted to make sure they were doing what was in keeping with the city's code, meaning they were approved because they were consistent with city code. So one thing I wanted to mention on tonight's rezoning application is that your staff has opined that the application does meet the city code. Your code lays out three criteria for approving a rezoning, and in the staff report that went to planning and zoning and that you saw previously, those three criteria were laid out and the rezoning criteria were all met. So unless there is competent substantial evidence proving otherwise, which is that we don't meet it, then I would ask that you would approve our rezoning application because we meet the criteria. Having said that, on a lighter note, the good thing about this rezoning request is that we are asking to downzone a property, which is actually kind of unique. Most times when people come in to rezone, we're asking to upzone because we want more. In this case, the applicant is requesting to downzone the property so that in keeping with the industrial use in the area, he can wholly enclose in a building his construction and debris business. Again, the positive thing here is that he will be benefiting surrounding businesses and obviously improving the property because he'll be putting a building on instead of having an open parking lot. And so he will be providing a needed service to the area by having a designated location for the transfer of construction debris and materials.
Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Again, staff has recommended approval. You have all the backup materials in your backup. You've reviewed, you've had them all to review. Happy to answer questions, and thank you for your consideration. I was trying to go fast.
Thank you. We enjoy seeing you.
Thank you.
Every time you come.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any
Let
questions
me
for me?
close public hearing. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. I need a motion to move and discuss agenda item 16A1.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second for discussion.
second for discussion by Vice Mayor Taylor. Are there any questions?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Davis.
thank you. If I could just provide a brief history of the item, being that I was one of the commissioners that sat here and actually opposed the item during the first time that it came before the commission. And the specific portion of the item that I opposed was actually the zoning issue. So usually when we have cases that come before the city, i.e. Companies looking to relocate or build in our city, we have what we call a special exception, a variance process, which we all are familiar with. And basically those two separate processes have two separate definitions. So a variance is basically permission granted to use a specific piece of property in a more flexible manner than allowed by our city's ordinances and code. A special exception is actually a specific permitted land use that is allowed when clearly defined criteria and conditions contained in the ordinance are met. So it's actually a process that we define through our code. What the applicant is asking for tonight is actually the rezoning. So it's not, it's not something that is permitted. It's not a permitted use, within the zoning category. And we also do not have a process formally laid out to ultimately establish a project like that, which is why the rezone request was actually made. I brought this up in the agenda briefing and actually had a problem with the use of the property. I know it is, in essence, down zoning and and I guess a lighter use. But I do understand that, when we look at properties throughout our city, that we have oversaturation of certain type of businesses. And I do think when we look at the future in our city, we have the potential to be more and do more. And I don't know if I'm, in support of the item, simply because I just don't want to put another construction or scrap metal or junkyard or automobile in our city. I believe those type of businesses have been oversaturated in our community for years. We don't have things like a major grocery store chain, Winn-Dixie, Walmart. We don't have those resources, but we have 10 junkyards and, several scrap metal facilities. And I just wouldn't want to see, those sort of things oversaturate our community and continue to add to, slum and blight, the very thing that we are trying to prevent. And I do understand it's a fully enclosed building and, they're taking the proper precautions, but I think the rezoning request and the ask of this commission, at least from my perspective, I don't think it's a great fit for our city, which is why I didn't support it the first time around. So I thought I should just state that for the record. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I respond?
Yes.
Thank you. I will try to be very brief in my response. Just if you take a look at the permitted uses in the I3 versus the I2, the property currently is zoned I3. We are requesting to downzone it to I2. The uses permitted in each zoning category are almost identical. So I have here a copy of your zoning code, and I'm sure you're very familiar with it, but I can provide you with a copy. And if you look at the list of permitted uses, they are almost identical in terms of what's permitted. So by allowing us to downzone this to I2 from I3, the only thing you're really changing is allowing us to operate this use within a wholly enclosed building. I'm happy to provide a list of the I2 and I3 uses so you can see they are almost identical. So by permitting the rezoning, you're not introducing a new use to the district. You're actually allowing an improvement to the district. So I recognize the need and the desire to have commercial uses like grocery stores and such in the city, but this property is already zoned industrial. It's in an industrial area, and it's not a location where a Publix or a grocery store, I shouldn't say Publix, a grocery store is going to locate. Furthermore, the proper mechanism for allowing this wholly enclosed building is what we're doing. It's a rezoning. If it were permitted as a special exception, your zoning chart as the permitted uses would have it listed as an special exception use, and we would have made that application for this use. But that's not the option for creating a wholly enclosed building. Neither is a variance. A variance is sought when there's some specific part of your land development code that you want to vary from, like your setback usually, or your landscaping. It's not a use. So we have followed the proper procedure to make the request tonight. And again, we say it as an improvement because currently you have an open air parking lot, and we want to have an actual building enclosed with a use that can service existing businesses in the city. Thank you for letting me respond.
Thank you. So going back, this came up a few times, and if you recall, I myself was wholeheartedly against having this in our city, and completely 100% understand, and I'm with Vice Mayor Davis, Commissioner Davis. However, my question, and I guess this is directed to Mr. Gay, if it's zone for I3, then technically it's already industrial, right? So, I mean, they can technically build this in an open structure, whereas we would prefer it closed.
Just to add clarification, Gregory Gay. Technically, it is in an industrial area by zoning and by land use. So industrial is the only activity that will occur. Now, as to get into the specifics, the difference between having a recycling facility in an I3 and a recycling facility in an I2 is the fact that it would be within a wholly enclosed structure, which would be a greater benefit to the city overall. So that's why we recommended approval for that.
Okay, any other discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Vice Mayor Taylor?
No, I just want to thank Mr. Gay and Ms. Calhoun for clarifying that, because that's what I understood. Because I would rather see it enclosed versus the way it is. So, yeah, that's all I want.
Okay, anyone else? All right. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
No.
Commissioner Dominguez,
No.
Vice Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Williams,
Yes.
motion passes 3-2 first reading.
Thank you very much. On a lighter note, I just want to show that I'm old school because I use a book, and Mr. Gay uses a
And no
computer.
laptop, right?
I'm trying to get there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, before we continue,
Yes.
I would like to have a point of personal privilege. Today, for some reason, I've been totally confused about everything that has passed today. And I would like to reconsider item 14.1. As I even asked, where are we at? I even had to get up to ask the clerk because I was so confused what I was voting on. So I would like to reconsider my vote on item 14.1. Because like I said before, I was not aware what I was voting on. I've had a long day, a long night, and I would like to have a point of personal privilege, and I would like to reconsider my vote, if I may.
Yes, according to Robert's rules, you may.
Thank you. I'm
Madam
not
Clerk, do we have to?
If I'm The attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, but I
Okay.
believe we need a motion for reconsideration on
Say I think
14-1.
Okay, but
So
let me
that would be
defer
her-
back.
Yes, ma'am. That would be her motion, and if someone seconds it, then it can be reconsidered.
Move it. Okay, moved by Commissioner Dominguez,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Taylor. So the vote has been reconsidered for item 14-1.
Now the vote would be,
Now the vote.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. At the,
It would be a, it would, she's
Read into
record.
right, registered, so
okay. Okay, item 17, city.
Doesn't it?
you have to
Um,
vote on it. You actually have to
Madam
vote
Mayor.
on the item.
Oh, that's why. I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
saying,
I'm
okay,
sorry, I
all right.
misunderstood you.
So why do we have to?
Are we voting on the motion to reconsider?
Now
That's
you
what we're
vote-
voting
now
on
you're voting
and
on
then
the
we go
motion.
back and vote on the original item.
Yes, you voted on the motion to reconsider. Now that's on the table. Now you're voting, you would be making a motion on the original item. So,
Okay, but we didn't make them, we made a motion, but we didn't vote on the
Correct.
reconsideration. So what you're saying is we need to vote on the
Yes, ma'am.
reconsideration? Okay. All right,
You ready?
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis,
No.
Commissioner Dominguez,
No.
Commissioner Dominguez, it's your-
there's the
it's your-
motion to reconsider.
It's a motion to reconsider.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass, Mayor Williams,
No.
motion to reconsider fails.
Mr. Manager, your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to first say thank you all for supporting our employees in a wonderful week of celebration of them and a wonderful week of appreciation for them. Our police were very, very excited to see the members of the commission come and participate with them in their bowling event. We're excited about the Public Works event. And as every single member of the commission made the picnic, the employee appreciation picnic, we are also very, very excited to have that supported. As you all are aware, at the start of this journey and this seat, for me as city manager, as your interim city manager, there were a lot of department head vacancies. We had no assistant city managers, no chief of police, no director of finance, no director of our community redevelopment association, no director or manager of our CIP. We lost our director of IT, no director of building and licensing, no director of community development, and no permanent director for parks and recreation. So with most of the city's departments left headless, the first goal has been to put people in place that could get the jobs done so the city could move forward. With that having in mind, we're close to closing the gap, and I'd like for Ms. Sonia Ray to stand. Ms. Ray has been filling in the gap from my time with the city as the interim parks director. And the expectation from many was that she would return to a senior coordinator at our parks. And I must give the recognition that is due. She has been phenomenal in this role. She has been professional. She's been timely. She set a new bar. She's expanded on our exploration of grants, and it is my astute honor to now place upon her the permanent role of our Director of Parks. In addition, for my report, I'd like to turn the floor over to Chief Israel to give us an update on our active shooter program.
Madam Mayor, good evening. Vice Mayor Taylor, Commissioner Bass, Commissioner Dominguez, Commissioner Davis, I'm so proud to be part of this team. Thank you for the welcome. Mr. Williams, thank you for everything. So the worst part of this commission meeting, as long as it's been, the only bad part about it, the only distasteful part about it is when Mayor Williams asked us to have a moment of silence. How many moments of silence are we going to have for how many dead Americans? It has got to end, but it continues and continues and continues. I don't even know if there are answers. How do you stop a mentally ill, deranged person from taking lives? That's what he or she sets out to do. But we can mitigate. We can quicken our response. And that's what our training program that I've developed is going to do. We're going to start training for every member of the agency. In our response, Mayor, what we're going to do is we have policies that are going to tell us that we have to go in, even if we're the first one there. If there's somebody taking the lives of Opalaca citizens, we have to go in. What we want to do is one of three things. We want to barricade the suspect. We want the suspect to surrender. Or we want to take the suspect out so the killing stops. And we will be prepared to do every one of those things. Every one of our offices has an automatic rifle, and every one of our offices has tourniquets. There's a new school of thought. When we first entered into buildings, the first training that was developed about 15 years ago was we would step over bodies, whether they were alive or dead, and push towards the killer and push towards the killer. And that is very important. You have to take the killer out. But now, if we think that we could save a life and that there are other officers that could pursue the killer, we will stop and we will do everything we can to save that life. And this is only through training. City manager, who's been the most supportive city manager for police that I've ever witnessed, and I thank you, truly, truly thank you for the support you give to law enforcement, accompanied me today to a Florida Department Law Enforcement initiative. I don't know if any of you have heard of Shirley Hinton. She has started the Community Relations Board, and it's grown and grown and grown. And now there are hundreds, law enforcement, people in social services, and it's been incredible. And the manager and I today became the first Opalaca members of this board. And in about an hour, I had 6 or 7 cards. And what's exciting about the exchange of information today and the networking we were able to do is we're not only going to be training with other agencies, and they'll be training with us, and we're going to be able to take part in real-time scenarios, but we're also going to begin training the public, training our citizens what to do in a restaurant. Think about the ingress and egress to properties. And I wanted to invite the commission that when we start our training, if you contact the city manager, you can watch our training, participate in it, see what we're doing, and you can be the first group of individuals to be involved in our citizen training. It centers around the FBI's mandate of run. First thing you want to do, even if you have a firearm, even if you're allowed to carry a firearm, we still want you to run. We want to take your family and run. Second thing we want you to do is hide. The third thing we want you to do is fight. And then it teaches that, and it gives you ideas, and it allows you to talk to your children and your grandchildren and to coach and to maybe survive the encounter. And in the meantime, only the Lord God is going to stop this violence. So, Mr. Manager, are there any other questions? questions or what do I do now?
I'll open the floor to.
Love it. I love it.
Madam Mayor.
Oh, he's in the middle of his.
Oh.
report. If you,
Madam Moore, I do open the floor to questions from the commission.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To Chief Israel, thank you for all that you do for our community.
Thank you, sir.
Obviously today was a somber day as an elementary educator, and obviously what happened over the weekend. I think we all have humble hearts, and we share the sentiments of the families and the many lives affected by what happened. I'm very excited to see all the new initiatives and the work that you plan on doing in our city. Obviously, active shooter training is a difficult subject to get a grasp on, as well as mental health issues, which we've all had our our specific cases in the city. My hope is that under your administration that the department will receive those trainings and ultimately fill in the gaps so that we are more responsive as a team and as a city. And we put our best efforts forward to ensure that we preserve the integrity and safety of our residents and businesses. Thank you for all that you do.
Sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Mayor,
Vice Mayor Taylor.
first off, I want to say thank you to the city manager for the morale building exercises that he gave this week, from the police department bowling to the karaoke and to the picnic that he had on that Friday. And this one, I shout outs to the manager for finally getting that pool open. So
Yes.
so if you ain't did nothing else, that pool. So the pool, I think the pool party that you in the parks are sponsoring is this Sunday. So no, it's this Sunday coming, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I can't take my shirt off because I got the stomach laugh, but I'm excited. Be quiet. And also, I would like to say what my colleague echo the sentiment. I love when Chris says that. Echo the sentiments of my colleague, and say that Scott Israel, we welcome you to the great city of Opalaca, and I like the fact that you came in and you hit the ground running.
Thank you.
You didn't wait. You started working. So I appreciate that, and I can't wait to work with you. And we're gonna move the city forward. Oh, wait, one more thing, Mr. Manager, I'm real quick. We talked about the lights on Siegel, but I also have a concern with the lights on Shabundi. At night, the lights that we have that light up the park are completely out. So the only time it works is when they have practice or something and they turn them on. But once it's done, the lights are completely out. So is that something, I just want to make sure that we can look into that for the safety of all of our parks. So just check the lighting. Can we get somebody to drive around at night to see what the parks look like so that you can understand what the residents are seeing?
Absolutely, Vice Mayor, that is something that we can look at. And if it be the will of the commission for us to change the schedule, and the timing of the lights, we can do that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Madam, I'm sorry,
Yes.
just really quick. I know in previous administrations, obviously, we've had our share of turnover at the city manager spot, but I know at one point we talked about, safety and ultimately fencing in the property. Once we establish proper fencing, then we could, really enforce hours as to opening and closing of parks. So my hope is that, if I heard the manager correctly, obviously we had one item being presented, and we have another one coming soon to fence and secure and add safety features to our parks. But my hope is that while that is occurring, to echo Commissioner Taylor's comments, that safety and hours and lighting and all of that is a part of the same conversation when we talk about securing and ensuring safety in our parks.
Yeah, please.
I also wanted to say, in addition to, when we talk about lighting, we have a term in police work, we call it CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. And we're going to look at a lot of different ways to do that. But in the meantime, I want to acknowledge Acting Captain Larry Hallborough. He's taken over patrol and he's really done an incredible job. And one of the things I've asked Larry to do is in nighttime, even if the lights are on, off, whatever, we've asked our officers when they meet with each other just to talk, when there's some downtime, to do it at a park, to be visible. When you go by the park, put your red and blues on so people could see you and know that we're there. We're going to try and be as visible as we possibly can. So we'll be patrolling the parks. You know, things are going to be different now, and we're going to be visible. We're going to be transparent. We're going to be aggressive. And I don't mean aggressive physically, but aggressive to how we approach our contacts, you know, with police. So a lot of things that were talked about tonight predated me, but the manager is crystal clear in his direction that he wants to take law enforcement. We work in lockstep with each other, and I think you're going to see a more involved police department. Also, if you have any events, I love going to events myself, and you will see me at a lot of events. I mean, I went to the bowling event as well, and the only thing I'm not allowed to talk about is Austin's score, so I won't say that. But I do want to say that if you feel you need police involvement, we want to be part of the community, just ask the manager what you need, tell him what you need. He'll convey it to me, and we will be there. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Madam
Yeah,
Mayor.
yes.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to bring this up because I know that there was a resident that brought this about Ms. Mitchell regarding the Keeping Under the Stars that was sponsored by the Parks and Recs, which was a beautiful event. I participated, I was here and I saw the movie. It was great. However, there was not an officer at arm at the event. And I didn't appreciate the fact that afterwards, as I was sitting with some of the people that were distributing the food, I heard 3 shots fired. I called the city manager. I called Captain Hallsborough. I didn't get a response, so I called the switchboard at Opalaca. I called. So my voice is there. I didn't call saying I'm a commissioner. I just said, this is Audrey Dominguez. I'm calling about shots fired. We don't have an officer here. And I just want in the future to please, you know, everything that's happened, that we have an officer. I don't care if it's an off-duty or security, anything, a car parked. We need to have an officer at arm because there was residents, elderly there. There was a bunch of children. And I don't want to, you know, this just happened. This was May 14th. And, you know, what just recently happened in Texas and in New York, I would not like that to happen. So I just want for you to ensure that we will have an officer in whichever event that we have here, please.
Yeah, and can I comment?
Please.
Madam Mayor, may I respond?
Yes, please.
I agree with everything you said, except one thing, and I'll get to that in a second. We want to be and we will be involved in events. All I ask, and I'm not saying you didn't or anybody did, if you need us for an event, your only call should really be to the manager, because then he could tell me what to do. I could create an action item and I could keep track and accountability and be able to see where we were and ask questions of the people. If we ask a captain or a sergeant or a police officer, I may not know about it. So I'd ask that it starts off with the city manager and then he'll give his direction to us, and we will be at the events. The other thing that I would really, really encourage you, Commissioner, is if you hear shots fired, anything that says gun, knife, violence, you could call the manager or me anytime you want. The only call you should be making is to 911. There's nothing the manager could do. when he gets a call that there's gunshots, there's nothing anybody else could do unless they're in the area. If you call 911, we have police officers, say from Miami Gardens, say a Miami Gardens police officer was traveling through Opalaca to get to North Miami, or a North Miami Beach officer was traveling to Hialeah. When it gets broadcast over the radio, every officer hears it, the same message. So who's ever closest is going to go. We have mutual aid contracts with each other. So we would respond there. So I would ask, call 911, whoever you want to call an hour later or 2 hours, you're the commissioner, have at it. But please call 911, not the manager.
I was just following the chain of command, and because I had those numbers, I
No,
decided to call.
I'm not
I didn't have your
criticizing.
number, believe me, I would have
No,
called you.
I'm not criticizing what you do. I just want you and the group to be as
Okay.
safe as possible, and 911 is the way to make us most safe.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
So, Chief, I can say that I woke up this morning, I had this conversation with Commissioner Davis, and just complete devastation.
Please.
And I said to him, I don't even know how he went to work, because after just having to go to work to see babies, that would affect me. So, and I woke up this morning and I immediately text Mr. Manager, or email text, I believe, and said, we need to teach active shooter training for our citizens. And unbeknownst to myself, the two of y'all were already on it.
Watch God
Like,
work.
unbelievable. Y'all, like, he told me this is already done. We planned it. It's so, I just want to thank you all for forward thinking, because it's not something that we want to talk about. It's not something we want to be trained on. We don't want, but it's the reality of where we are, and we need to teach our children and our seniors and everyone from cradle to the grave, how to protect yourself and how to respond in situations like that. I do want to say, and not to prolong the meeting, and I'm taking this out of my report to say this: next Friday, June 3rd, it is Gun Violence Awareness. I don't know if you all know that. Next week is Gun Violence Awareness Day. And literally this comes right at the same time. And I'm requesting that we as a city wear orange. Interesting enough, Team Opalaca shirts are orange. So,
Next Friday, you want us to wear?
which is Vice Mayor Taylor's favorite color. So I am requesting that you recycle and rewear your orange Team Opalaca shirts. And it's just so fitting because Team Opalaca, we're one team, we're one city. I am Opalaca. And so if we can wear shirts, take a photo, publicize that, and market that, how we're in, solidarity. And also taking 100 students from Robert B. Ingram Elementary School. I was contacted by the Florida Marlins to do that. So I've been working with Commissioner Bass so that they're going to have a forum. They're going to be able to watch the game. This is all free. Their principal will be able to throw out the first pitch. It's going to be amazing. And interesting enough, and shout out to Commissioner Bass for doing all the legwork. Interesting enough, the first thing I get a call back, is the chief coming? We want the chief. The Florida Marlins want you on that mound.
Wow.
Shout out. We want Chief Israel to be there. And I immediately called Commissioner Bass and said, oh my God, the Marlins requested Chief Israel to come. They were like, yeah, we want the chief. Okay, you got the chief. And so thank you. And Commissioner Bass said, he'll come. He'll be there. So we, June 3rd, 4 p.m., Marlin Stadium, 100 students.
In uniform or with the orange t-shirt?
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'll leave the attire to Commissioner Bass.
Orange shirt, orange shirt.
Madam Mayor,
But anyway, I didn't mean to take this much time, but it's just amazing that we're being embraced by other communities to do stuff like this. So
That's
thank you. Yes.
I believe I have the chief booked that day.
I believe he's gonna be at the Marlin Stadium. Yes.
We, to Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Bass and to all of you, but Mayor Williams, who teach at schools, I don't know how you went to school today. I really don't. I'm so proud of you for showing up. I think I'm kind of in a minority of a very few people who could actually say, I walked through the scenes of 2 active killings, one at a school. And I got to tell you, I pray sometimes that God would obliterate what I saw that day from my memory, and it never does. And anything myself or the police department could do to come to talk to kids, to talk to teachers, whatever we can do, we will be there for you and for this community. So count on me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anything else, Manager?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So for my last announcement, the Vice Mayor has actually taken some of the thunder out, but I would
He
still
usually
like
does.
to call our new permanent Director of Parks, Ms. Sonia Ray, up to discuss our event for our pool party.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commission. This Sunday, we're having our first Memorial Day pool party here at Shavandi, doing a kickoff for the summer program. We're gonna have bounce houses. We have 3 lifeguards that's gonna be present for the grand opening on Sunday. We're gonna have a whole bunch of kids here, food, and a lot of entertainment. Stop it. We're gonna have a lot of entertainment. A lot of parents in the community will be out to engage in the new outreach in parks. So we're gonna be looking to do more and better things to get the community involved in parks, to engage them from traveling outside of the city. They'll be coming back home. That's my goal.
That part.
Yes.
And as the Parks Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ray. As many of you all already know, activities for our youth over the summer is so important. We have a high density city with not a lot of resources and activity. So the first priority that I gave to Ms. Ray was to get that pool open. And every single week I was in her face to get that pool open. And she has been, whether it was finding the parts, whether in a time where parts are not easily available, getting somebody to put the parts in. And then finally we had a struggle with getting our lifeguards. I can tell you, I have been in her face on a weekly basis, and she has been grace under fire. And I'm so excited that we have something for our students, because I said it has to be open before school's out. So we have something for our youth to participate in all summer long, someplace for them to go, something for them to do. And we're going to continue to do those type of programming. So I'd like to again commend Ms. Ray for getting that job done, and job well done. Thank you very much. And Madam Mayor, that's all of my announcements.
Okay, thank you. Not to rush you, but the street says that Vice Mayor Taylor Davis and you, Mr. Manager, will be there with Speedos. So just, that's what the Opa-locka street say.
Hey.
I'm just saying, orange Speedos. Are there any official board reports?
Yes, Madam. Oh, sorry.
Board
reports. I'm sorry. I thought it was appointments.
Madam Clerk, are there any official
There
board
are-
reports?
There are none, Madam Mayor.
Okay. You said there's none? Oh, okay.
We don't
I'm sorry, I
have
didn't
any.
hear you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, just for the, and I'm not sure if the city has received anything, but most cities have signed off on the opioid settlement agreements with the, from the Attorney General's office. I'm not sure if the cities received those. I haven't seen any resolutions come forward. There was one just recently, an amendment with the Walgreens, dealing with Walgreens for settlement, getting opioid funds. And so if that hasn't been done, the commission, and I believe the deadlines are coming up fairly soon. I haven't seen any items come from the management. You all may want to, and I generally don't encourage, items that you just vote on, but you may want to figure out a way to, figure out where the city is, if there had been some previous legislation that would have allowed for the manager to sign off, but the cities are getting back funds from the opioid litigation to deal with that crisis that are designated for the city. So, and the manager looks like he has some information. I just wanted to put it on the record because I know that I've been seeing it come up in other cities, but I haven't seen it here.
Okay, thank you. Are there any future agenda items?
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. So as you know, earlier today, we had Mr. Beasley with Career Source come out and speak to the Summer Youth Employment Program, which is a program I worked with for several years in my outside capacity and working with kids in the foster care system. It's been a great resource, to the South Florida community, where our youth are able to ultimately, make a significant amount of money during the summer months, ultimately, deterring them from, participating in wrongdoings and different activities that won't be productive to their future. So in an effort to, and in the spirit of that, I would like to push this initiative forward. And I am presenting the item, but my hopes is that my colleagues would also co-sponsor the item because, this is not, just something that I feel that is important for our community. I think, everyone sitting beside me also share those same sentiments and would like to put our best effort forward. So I would like to present it as a future agenda item to have the city manager to identify funding, whether it's within our own city budget or grant or appropriation opportunities that may come on the horizon to establish a summer youth employment program here in our city in the amount of $50,000. Which
So
was
I would
the max.
definitely like to co-sponsor that.
Me too.
And I like what I heard you say about the grant. Is that something I think we should definitely, I heard 50, but I think if we can bring it up to even more, so we need to, make sure that we can find a grant that we can write. I do know we have a grant agency. I have not seen any grants come through the agency yet that we've approved. So it'd be great if we can put that on the table.
Thank you. All right, most is on
And it
the
looks like
floor.
everybody's
Madam Mayor.
co-sponsoring.
Okay, so
Yes.
let the record note that is sponsored by the mayor and commission. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and co-sponsors.
Perfect, thank you. Future agenda items.
I have one.
Okay,
Okay, lately I've been noticing, and it's no fault to the manager here, or just something I've noticed. I'll say this, I want to repeal the ordinance 2020-12, which is future agenda items. Because there are a lot of things that the commission puts on that we don't see. And for months and months and months and months. So we were elected to legislate. And I think the future agenda items hold us like I'm using the mayor's word, it pigeonholes us and doesn't allow us to do our job. And when we hear the residents, they say, y'all not doing nothing. But we say it's there, it just has not reached the agenda. So I'm asking that we repeal, and this is not a knock against the previous administration or the one that proffered the resolution, but I think it holds us back from moving forward as a commission. So I'm asking that we repeal that ordinance future agenda item.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Madam Mayor, I'm not even gonna lie, I was sitting up here when it was, first implemented, and I see the sponsor of the item sitting beside me, and I remember those conversations. When the item was initially proffered, the basic intent, and I'm sure the sponsor of the item can elaborate more, but the basic intent was, not to pigeonhole, but it was really to be effective and efficient with the work product that, we oftentimes task staff. So at the time, staff was, extremely overwhelmed, obviously, when we are still in a financial emergency and have certain fiduciary responsibilities that oftentimes burden staff. But the original intent was not to, pigeonhole the commission. I was one of those commissioners who would constantly, give a task to staff, and one of those tasks actually ended up resulting in CARES Act funding, which we were able to put forth towards the grocery gift card program, as well as the housing rehabilitation programs and uniforms and rental and mortgage assistance. So, I am in support of it, because if that work had not been done in the 11th hour when Miami-Dade County ultimately allowed us to apply for the grant, we wouldn't have received $2 million to our city. And I have seen, since it's been implemented, it's definitely hindering the legislative progress of this commission. I most recently sent the email to the manager and attorney's office regarding future agenda items that I didn't see tracked through the clerk's office. And my hope is that, everything that we, put forth as a commission and receives consensus, that it goes forward with fidelity. So thank you, Commissioner Taylor, and to Commissioner Bass. I'm sure we'll hear your opinion on the matter. I mean, we had a few years to implement it, so it'd be very refreshing to hear your words.
Thank you. Quickly, Madam Mayor. The original intent was to give the staff time to do research as it relates to whatever we were bringing to the people. But however, if it be the will of the commission, because we all work as a team, I will throw my head in. So we'll move on. And you said that in your opinion, it was also being a hindrance on moving forth. And that was not my intent to proffer something that was going to hinder us as a team. And again, it was just to give the staff time to get their research done. So when it comes to us, we knew what we were going to be voting on or speaking about. Thank you.
So,
Mayor?
Go ahead, sorry, Dave.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Commissioner Bass. Thank you, Commissioner Davis, and thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd also like to weigh in on this issue, as this is an issue that impacts our operations. And I'd like to say that the city manager's office also supports removing the future agenda items, not so that we can take on more responsibilities. We provide agenda cover memos and supporting documentations in support of legislation. But however, what I'm finding is when things go to future agenda items, they may get lost in space. I've been privy to pushing forward two pieces of legislations that I came to find out that the mayor had proffered, and got funded for months previous to my arrival. And just this week, we uncovered some future agenda items by Commissioner Davis that we weren't aware of. So while the intent was clearly to support administration, and we appreciate that, The goal is also to support you all in getting your legislative agenda items forward. And I do believe we can do that better without the future agenda item requirement.
Okay. I'm coming. So my question to you, Mr. Manager, if future agenda items are removed, what's the fail-safe that these items are going to be, the agenda items will be properly researched, done, everything? Because, I mean, you're correct, not to be the dead horse, but there are some items that passed, moved quickly, went through, and then there were some items that just floated out in cyberspace. So what would that plan be? Or do I need to, should we come back, let you regroup with the departments to come back to us and let us know how that would look?
At this time, what needs to happen is we need to hire a legislative analyst that can properly move on your agenda items. Department heads have pitched in for some time now to assist with the drafting of legislation, which is wholly inappropriate. What is required of department heads is an agenda cover memo with supporting documentation. And absolutely, we shall continue to do that. I will push forward. I will speak with the city clerk on how we can move forward judiciously and as speedily as possible, and ensure that we get funding in our future budgets for legislative analysts for all the members of the dais.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to just, because I know that I also had some items that were passed and were approved. I just want to make sure that mine doesn't get forgotten, or, because it was basically about the information in the water bill and also the Newsweek letter that I brought about. I just want to make sure that if we remove it, that we still follow up with the other items that were already passed with the future agenda item, which was those two that I brought about the information in the water bill, and also the Newsweek that I brought about to the city manager and the previous city manager regarding this. Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
If I could request that each member of the commission send to me any future agenda items from previous administrations that have not moved forward, that have not been acted upon. We would like to collect that information and within a speedy time, push those agenda items forward if we can.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Bass. We know that that was, one of your babies, but I thank you for the model that there's no I in team. Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Can we vote on these future agenda items?
You're right, because they have future agenda items, but then they
We
want to take it away.
discussed,
Okay.
but we didn't take any.
Has it been,
We didn't vote.
we didn't, it's been
So
moved and
for,
second?
Yeah.
for Commissioner Davis' future agenda item, we did get his motion,
I
but
second
I
it.
need a second.
I second it.
Taylor.
And then we need to vote on it.
Okay, Vice Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes. Oh, Commissioner Dominguez. Motion passes 5-0 on Commissioner Davis' future agenda item. The second future agenda item is to repeal the future agenda items ordinance, and that was moved by Taylor.
Second.
Okay, and Vice Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Are there any mayor commission reports?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would just
Commissioner
like
Bass.
to take a moment to thank yourself, our mayor, our police chief, and our city manager for making a visit at Dr. Robert Bingham Elementary School on Friday of last week to help us celebrate Monarch Butterfly Garden, our science lab, and some other things that we had at the school. Thank you all so much. We have an open door policy to our mayor and commission, so anytime you guys are ready to come, you are more than welcome. Thank you.
You are welcome. I already mentioned about the Florida Marlins next week. And if you can make it, please let me know because we have a donor for that. We need to let him know. Are there any other future agenda items? I'm sorry, Mayor Commission reports.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
If I could just go briefly. So I just want to acknowledge that this past Saturday, and also thank you for attending the event, Madam Mayor. We had our It's Time to Fish event where we ultimately partnered with the Parks and Recreation Department. I see Zonia shaking her head. Thank you. She was out there with many of our Opa-locka youth as well as Mahogany Fishing, and I would be remiss not to acknowledge Parks and Recreation staff, Kari, and all the volunteers that assisted us, the manager for ensuring that our youth had a nice fishing lunch and all the accommodations. But it was a great event. Vice Mayor was there. Madam Mayor, excuse me, was there and fishing, and the kids. They took away better catches than the adults. So it was a very heartwarming experience, and that's exactly what we want to do: expose our youth to different opportunities like that. I also want to put forth that on June 13th, from 9:30 to 12 o'clock p.m., we'll be hosting the Walking One Stop initiative in the Glorietta Gardens apartment complex. So as you know, this is an intervention strategy that we that I myself put into place last year, and former commissioners Kelly and others have hosted similar events in the past, but it's something that I think was very effective as is an intervention strategy to really address and curb some of the violence and wrongdoing we've been experiencing within our multi-family pockets of our city. In addition to that, on June 3rd, I'll be hosting conversations with Commissioner Chris Davis, which is a Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. The goal is basically to go on a listening tour where we will establish, what has been done in the community and what it ultimately needs to be done. So again, tapping back into my roots as a community organizer, making sure that we are present and we are available to our constituents to have, fruitful conversations that will ultimately move this city and its people forward. With that, Madam Mayor, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
And I just want to publicly thank you for the fishing trip. Zonia, the park staff, what an amazing time we had. I hope that we can continue to do it. All the kids, I was about to say students, all the kids walked away with their own fishing pole. And interesting enough, all the babies were catching all the fish first. Zonia, I don't know what you did. I saw like a little tiny goldfish on your rock, but that's neither here nor there. Commissioner Davis, you caught absolutely nothing.
But how you gonna call somebody out and we watched the
I'm
live?
just saying.
All you did was on live. You
But
didn't even fish.
I caught, Zonia.
And I said, why you not fishing, Madam Mayor?
I caught two. But for real, it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
For those that
And
fished, it was fun. Not the mayor. She didn't fish.
it was so much fun. So thank you, Commissioner Davis. I just really wanted to give you that shout out for the time that we had. Are there any official board appointments?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
Somebody's doing your job. Madam
So
Clerk.
we have an application from Alex Van Meckel, who's an Opalaca resident, and he is applying to serve on the Historic Environmental Preservation Board.
I want to make a motion to appoint Alex Van Meckel to the Historic Preservation Board.
Second.
Commissioner Bass? Yes. Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Mayor Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay.
And wait, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. I want to also appoint Deacon Eugene Stanley. That's the other application I see, to the Community Relations, Recreation and Activities Board.
Okay, that's your individual appointment.
That's my individual appointment.
Okay.
Yeah, you gave it to me
Deacon
here.
Stanley, okay.
Deacon Eugene Stanley, that's what it says.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn commission meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by all. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Motion by all.